Hello. As you see, it's not a happy day to be a 49er today. We lost to the Chicago Bears 19-10. I was hoping to get a win, but we lost. If anybody want to join me, I'm going to put the link in the thing. So thing disappear. I'm about to put the link in. Come on, move off the way. Let's see. I know I'm live. There go the link. Anybody want to join me and talk about this loss that we had today because we lost to the Chicago Bears? And I knew it. I didn't want this to happen. Yep. David's link is in there. I know you've been already on David on John Jay. But we just had too many penalties today. Too many. Too many penalties. We just couldn't score. Every time they let the team back in it. Number 7 stuck with his receiver, with Dante Pennis. He stayed there. Would have been cool. But he had to run away from that receiver and left him wide open. So, David.
What's going on, buddy?
Not much. Mad that we lost. Even though I'm happy to see that Seattle lost. Not Seattle. Arizona lost. Rams lost. Only team that's right now top of our division is Seattle.
Yeah, that's not going to be for long. Well, I think after the Russell Wilson shows the Seahawks what they're missing, it's going to be we're all in the same place. We're all at the top and the bottom at the same time. And I'm wondering how long it's been since the whole NFC West has been 0-1. I mean, has this ever happened?
Not that I can remember.
Hey, Isaac Miles Sr., he knows it. It is America's team.
Yeah. Isaac, you come on in here. Just hit that link. This link right here is in the chat. You can join us if I think you can. You might have to create a channel,
But yeah, I was just like, I've been on, a few different streams, and you know what? I actually got to see if this puts the Bears avatar on real fast. Let me see. Oh, dang it! It's a bet I'm paying. That's what's going on there. But if you don't notice, the C is backwards.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the Bears fans noticed. But yeah, it's just a bet I'm paying. I'm going to flip it back to 49ers here shortly.
Yep.
But I mean, the good thing is it's only one game, but how brutal our schedule is, we really needed this game. And I mean, our defense every time they third down. All right, they stopped them. Flag. It's like, dude, really? And I mean, like the Greenlaw, they flagged Greenlaw for hitting Fields when he was sliding out of bounds. Greenlaw was already in the process of trying to tackle him when he decided to slide. And I don't think the NFL should be calling that.
Mm-hmm. I know that was wrong. Cause that wasn't a hit.
I mean, it's not like he even tried to, get his body weight off of him. I mean, he tried everything he could. You don't throw a flag on that. If he would have went like, slammed him down, slammed his body weight on him, and done all the stuff you're not supposed to do, yeah, throw a flag. But he didn't. So I was looking at the refs like, what's going on here? But at the same time, I mean, our coaching staff, we have a bunch of new coaching staff, and I'm starting to wonder if Shanahan made the right moves there. But, over the course of the season, we'll find out. And what I mean is, 12 penalties for 99 yards. That is sloppy. 4 or 5 penalties in a game, sure. But 12 penalties for 99 yards and, giving their offense a second chance. I mean, we only allowed 204 yards total. We owned the time of possession. We owned the total yardage. When it comes to turnovers, it was us. We had 1 turnover from them. They had 2 from us. So, but I mean, we literally beat ourselves today, and we can't do that. We can't do that.
Yeah, we can't. We just, I was like, oh. Plus, with that touchdown, I had a feeling that after they finished that touchdown, like, oh man, I think we're about to lose this game. I think the momentum went their way.
Oh, Tom Brady just threw a pick, and that was a horrible throw. What are you thinking? You look like that was worse than Jimmy G. Anyway.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't. I think you were trying to put me in the group or some call. He just tried to call me or something. I said, I'm in my life. You gotta come over here to me, Isaac. Just hit that button there. Click on that thing.
Yeah, click on the StreamYard. To change my avatar, apparently I had to enable like YouTube streaming through my YouTube channel, which I guess everyone who's on YouTube commenting has a channel. I didn't know that's how that worked. But now I'm sitting there going, so hold on a second. Does this mean I can host a stream? I actually have 7 subscribers, and I have no idea who they are. I seriously have no idea who they are. I mean, but if I ever start a channel, I got 7 to start with. Oh.
I got to subscribe to you. I got to come over there.
But yeah, it's just kind of funny. If I ever start doing anything, I got someone to watch it, at least.
Yeah, I'm like so mad. I believe. But I only seen one thing that Michael posted. He posted a video of the Bears when they were celebrating in the rain, going, they all slide in the fields and stuff. I'm like, man. Did you see the video of AZ?
The AZ sports fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not happy about his team.
Yeah.
And I picked the Cardinals. How did we do on them pickings, buddy? Let me see.
I did bad.
I think we only had one game that was different. So that was a W. That was a W. That unfortunately is an L. That was the Niners game. Did the Bengals or Steelers win?
Steelers won. And that's my sister sent me something saying, your team lost.
Hey, there's Bryant Culp. Hey,
Yeah.
buddy, you can click on the StreamYard link and come in if you want.
Come on, was it?
Let's see. I'm going. I'm clicking on the NFL Week 1 just because I want to update and see how I did here. My pick'ems.
Okay.
The Colt. Okay, well, what do you count a tie for? Because
I know. I don't know how you do that
do
too.
you just
I
count
was
it as a
wondering.
loss because we didn't pick it to be a tie?
As I was wondering, they don't say what you do if you have two teams tied. Like
I mean, we could make our own rule and just either call it a tie or just call it a loss. I mean, we
yeah,
should call it a loss because we actually picked a team to win, I think.
yeah.
Let's see. Eagles barely beat the Lions.
Yeah.
Barely. That was another L. I picked the Lions.
You
The
you got the
Steelers,
one right.
Bengals. Oh my goodness.
You got the you picked Minnesota to beat
See,
Green Bay.
the Ravens won. The Finns
Yeah.
won. The Commies won. The Browns beat the Panthers. Did they?
Yep.
Yes, they did
I
by 2
couldn't believe
points.
that. I was like, man.
Then the Giants will beat the Titans. Wow. Wow. I don't think I'm even going to be 500 here. No, the Vikings beat the Packers. We got a W, buddy. And we got a loss because they.
No, you got to win. I lost. I picked Green Bay.
Oh, you did? I thought you picked the Vikings.
No, I picked Green Bay.
Who won the
That's what
Ravens Chargers?
I said
Okay.
this is the only team we didn't agree on.
That's W. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right now, I think I'm 7-7 right now. Yep, I'm 7-7, and I picked the Bucks. And there's still some time in the game. I'm not going to call it.
Yeah, it's time for them.
I mean, tomorrow
right
night,
now,
I definitely pick. It's definitely going to be the Broncos. I'm not. I mean, Russell Wilson. There's no way he's losing to the Sea Chickens.
You're right now 7.
Oh, there goes Facebook again.
And then 1 time.
I could at least end up with a winning record. I wonder, should we keep track of the whole season?
Yeah.
I mean, then over the course of the season, we could see who gets better and who gets worse, or what happens. I mean, it's week 1, so you never know what to expect. I mean, we pretty much picked off what we thought was going to happen, like the Steelers beating the Bengals. That's a kind of surprise. And the Giants beating the Titans, that was also a surprise.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I was like, man.
I mean, the Browns, it makes me wonder how legit they actually are. We got me a fly.
I want
to. Did I get him? I think I got him. I don't know. I don't see a body, so I'm assuming I didn't get him.
Yeah, I'll just. Ooh. You see, CJ paid off his bet.
Yes, he did. I'm not paying off mine with this ugly thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to be told, I changed it here, but it's not changed on my YouTube avatar. It's still San Francisco. It's still my crusty San Francisco symbol that I like so much.
Yeah. Come on, Tampa Bay.
Did we pick points? Oh,
on a different game. Different Seattle. We did the points. You probably left. You should stayed and come on in here. Oh, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming in. Let me see who this is. I can't tell.
What's up, guys?
John Jay.
Yeah. So this is a Bears picture, but it's a better bear. It's a better bear picture. Because we did lose to a bear, but
Yep.
oh man, what's up, guys?
Oh, so frustrating.
Oh man, man. I want to say this because Michael's gonna have a field day with us for the entire year, and I'm not gonna like it, but you know he deserves it. He's gonna be talking this trash, so that's all I gotta say about that, man.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
when I saw the momentum change, I'm like, oh man. Plus, when they had to trade through that, I said, we lost this game, damn it.
Like the 49ers, like in the very first drive that we were moving the ball down the field. Good chemistry, all that stuff. Debo ran the ball and then he fumbled it inside the red zone. If he didn't fumble that, we would have got at least 3 more points. That probably would have been at least 13. If we were lucky, maybe 17 points. But that fumble happened. Trey Lance had it wide open. Tyler Croft or the tight end, wide open with no defenders. If he would have just dropped it much sooner than leaving it up in the air, that could have been a touchdown. So let's say let's be conservative. We could have had 20 points before the half.
Yep.
But we lost a lot of opportunities. And that's the thing that, you know, again, I don't make any excuses for our team, but when you're leaving points off the board, it hurts. And then penalties, which I don't want to talk about, and of course, Trey Lance at the crucial moments of the game, throwing that interception, and you know it's raining. You know when it rains, it rains. You still got to play in the rain, and so when it comes to Trey Lance, like I first said, I'm going to give him an F, but then I decided, you know, I'm going to give him an incomplete because it's his first week 1 start in a very tough condition. Hopefully they can learn from this, and then Trey Lance can get better because I did not expect he was 13 of 28, so he was less than 50%. So, and a lot of the throws, that incompletion, all those balls to Jawan Jennings that were too low, and leading a lot of receivers to the ground. So his accuracy in this game was not good. So,
but at least you know he didn't do like our other quarterback do. He took the blame for it. He didn't say we in his press conference. He didn't say, "Oh, we gotta do better. We made mistakes." He said, "I made mistakes. I gotta do better."
mm-hmm. And he did say that interception that he threw, which like he's a pro quarterback, and again I'm being kind of harsh on him, but you never eye any of your opponents. You survey the field, and that's one thing he has to learn. Like one thing that Jimmy would do that a lot of people don't talk about was that quick release. He never gave defenses an opportunity to survey what Jimmy was going to do. He got that ball out immediately, and our playmakers would do all the work. Trey Lance, I said this. Trey Lance is going to hold the ball. And another reason about the game was I talked about this on my stream yesterday. that our interior offensive line was going to dictate the way Trey plays. And Trey, I think, had 13 rushes for 54 yards. So that pocket was breaking down. And again, I was talking trash, but the Bears did have, Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith. So their defense was doing really well against that middle of the line. So this is a thing that we also have to worry about, and this was against the Bears, and I'm not saying the Bears are going to be in the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to be in the NFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be in the playoffs, so they're going to be competitive this year. The way they played is going to be competitive. Now, if this is an outlier, and say the Bears lose 5 games in a row, and then we win 5 games in a row, maybe that was an outlier. But again, this loss opens up the eyes of what this team is, and that's why Trey should have played week 2, should have played more time against the Texans.
Yeah.
But Kyle Shanahan said no because I want him to get as much rest as possible. No, I'm done with this bull crap of the NFL. Play your starters, and if you don't want to play your tier 1 starters, play your backup starters. Play as many players for the reps so they can get that chemistry. And Kyle didn't want to do that. So,
and also, I was sitting there like looking too, and I'm like, we should have. What I'm thinking of now. I was like so mad. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to hear from the Steelers fan because my sister boy husband's a Steelers fan, and I talked to him and told him, "Oh, you Steelers gonna lose. My Niners gonna win." And here we go. Steelers won. Niners lost. But now at Tuesday, I want to see the NFC West. See what everybody got to say.
Yep. I know because the Seahawks are going to lose to the Broncos. I think that's or I don't know who they're playing tomorrow, but everyone has a loss, so they can't. And again, the Arizona guy can't say nothing because they got blown out by the Chiefs. The Rams got blown out by
Buffalo.
Yeah, we did not get blown out. We just played bad. So the only person is CG who has the upper leverage, but the Cardinals guy, they got blown out, so he can't say nothing, and the Rams guy cannot say nothing either.
Did you see his video, AZ's video today?
Nope. I've been hanging out with some other people.
He was upset. He said, don't nobody, you're not upset about this game. He my fans, I said, if we can't have a conversation, you're not mad about this.
Yeah. Yep. I will say this. I would rather lose like having the ball and like you're going down the field and you lose it in the final seconds than having an opportunity and then letting them run the clock out.
Yeah.
I don't like being blown out. Like I said, I would rather lose in a very close game, which is still going to hurt. Every loss is different, but losing is losing. But yeah. So, yep. And this is the reason why I don't do predictions. I said worst case scenario for the 49ers is 9 victories. After watching today, and if Trey Lance is going to be doing this a lot of times, and we have a very strong schedule. I won't be surprised if the Niners go 8-9. I think 8 is now the worst case for the 49ers. I don't think they're going to go 7-10. I don't think they're going to go 6-11. I think 8 is worst case scenario. They still have a good team. And I don't want to make excuses. We didn't have George Kittle, but I don't want to make no excuses. Ross Dwelly was catching the ball. Charlie Warner was helping in the run game, but what they were doing was what the Bears were doing was they were stacking up the middle of the box and keeping the running backs. And when the pocket broke down, the linebackers played back, and when Trey Lance started the run, they ran at him. So, just watching every situation. And of course, the play that really hurt the 49ers was leaving Dante Pettis wide open. That was the play that woke up the sleeping giant.
Yep.
Because Justin Fields was 8 of 17. He was 3 of 9 with like 17 passing yards. He was 5. I think he was 5 of 8. 5 of 8. 5 of 8. And I think over 100 yards. And I think he had 2 touchdowns. I could be wrong.
Yep.
And speak of the devil, look who's in the chat.
Chicago.
Yeah. If you want to talk more football, you can hop on, man.
Yep, you can hop on. The link is in here, Mike.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your Bears winning.
Yeah. Yep. And again, you deserve this, man. I know a lot of us were overconfident, but at the end of the day, you deserve this, man. Like I said, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott just got pulled.
What do you mean he got pulled?
He just got pulled. They put the backup in.
Yeah.
Because they're losing. Yeah, they're
looking at his right hand.
Oh, what? Am I right? Was I right?
His finger just got bent back.
Oh shit!
His index finger or his thumb. I can't tell which one.
Well, I don't want to sound like I'm a doctor, but you can still pop in a finger, but you still need a medical profession to see how bad it is. Because I remember here where I live, we have this police league where it's not big like it used to be no more, but there were a lot of these like young academy types who would participate, and you had a few of the active people from across the city, and they would play this game. So one day there was this guy, he was trying to be fun, and he got hard slapped, and his hand went backwards, and the ball basically bent his index finger. So I saw it firsthand how they popped the finger, and they're like, all right, 2 people hold on to him on his shoulder, because what's going to happen, you're going to scream. So he said, ready, set, and he went up, pop, and the guy was screaming in pain, but the finger was back to normal, but they still had to take him to the emergency room to see how bad the extent was. The good thing about it was because they popped it perfectly, he was going to have some swelling. So basically, he had some bruising, some vessels did pop, but it wasn't the bone was had to be surgically repaired. So it's the thing about the finger, you could pop it, but you have to make sure there's not a lot of little cracks, when you pop it back in. So that's one thing about me. I had to go to school. I didn't want to go to college, and I'm not the smartest, but I went to community college, and I had to learn a little bit of medicine when you have to be a coach, because players get injured. So I had to learn that stuff. But anyway.
Yeah, I was wishing, hoping.
Oh, what the hell are you throwing to? So Prescott went back to the locker room. Some guy, Cooper Rush, is in, and he just threw to nobody. Yep. Anyway, I mean the whole penalties. I mean Greenlaw had a few.
Yeah.
it just kind of makes me wonder. I mean, how much we probably should have played them in the preseason and got the rust off of these guys. But at the same time, I mean, we play a cleaner game. Our defense is getting them off the field. Our offense is spending more time on the field. That's always a good thing. And then the whole Debo fumbling in the on that drive, I was like, oh man. And the whole time I'm thinking, like, right now they're keeping them in the game. You got to get up 2 scores and stay up 2 scores. And they just, kept hanging around, and those penalties sure came back and bit us.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't see the Debo fumble. I came in too late to the game. I fell asleep.
Yeah, we were driving, man. If he would have been able to hold on to the ball, that would have been at least 3 points.
Yeah.
I was sitting there asleep. My brother said, "Are you sleeping on your game?" I said, "Oh shoot, it started." Oh man.
I guess Michael don't feel like hopping in.
Yeah.
I know, that's all right. Because he's in university or college, so I don't know if he has to be up in the morning. So
yeah,
or he might be hanging out with YTC, but he always like has to be up early for whatever the reason. So that's the case, but no worries. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I
Man,
was,
it is what it is. Like I don't want to dwell on losses, but like if Trey Lance just would have had a better touch to the tight end, that would have been 7 points. 7 points. And if Debo, and like I said, we could have got 2 more touchdowns. Instead, it could have been maybe 24, maybe 20 at least. Like we would have been able to have a good cushion, and the game plan would have been more conservative, would have been more smarter. But once that touchdown happened, and then once the second touchdown happened, we should have lost by 10, no, by 11, because the kicker missed 2 extra points. And like I don't want to blame the rain. I don't want to do this because again, like the Niners, they've played in rain before, so it's just like Kyle should have like prepared this week just in case, and maybe had Trey throw a wet football. Because
do anybody know this guy?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
I've never seen this guy before.
Me neither.
Window just ended. It's 1 game, buddy. One game.
1 game.
And I never said, I'm blaming the rain. I never said that. I don't make no excuses for my team. So
if you want to come on in here, whoever you are, but you gotta show me your face first.
That's for sure, because you never know who this could be.
Yeah,
it'd be really careful.
Click that link right there, but you gotta show me your face.
Yeah, because we don't need no Jesse Naylor. Even though I'm not a fan of Jesse Naylor, but apparently he put some adult content when Jesse let him on. Yeah.
That happened at Jonas too, didn't it? And CG's once.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Jonah one was more like sound effects. But yeah.
No, we're not blaming the rain. We're blaming it on our defense. I mean, our non-defense.
Mhm.
But I blame the whole team.
Yeah.
Blaming everybody. It's not Trey Lance. All Trey Lance fault.
Well, yeah,
It's
that is true. I agree. But and the only reason why I'm giving Trey Lance like a hard time because I don't want people to think, oh, I'm going to defend Trey Lance. You know, I'm not going to do that. I still believe in Trey Lance. It was one game. This is technically his third official start. But you know, like the Greenlaw situation, like when he let Dante Pettis wide open, like come on, man, you should have made sure that you had that player covered. But and then Dante Pettis, you know, got wide open in the touchdown. Okay, so again, and penalties. Like everyone on the defense was making penalties. So the Niners had like I think like 5 penalties, and then in the second half, like I think we had like 6 or 7. So we had a lot of penalties. What did the Bears do? They didn't throw any interceptions. They didn't fumble the ball. They basically played conservative, and they made the Niners on their worst moments, and they capitalized, and that's what they did. So the Bears were like, they wanted to win this game. They wanted to win this game. They did not say, all right, we're down by 10. You know, this team is going to be really good. No, you fight 2 halves. That's why it's called 2 halves. The game does not end at the first half. And the 49ers, they did not do the right adjustments. And again, we could talk about this like as much as we can, but the game's over. The Niners lost. And I'm going to be on the team. Like, I'm a real fan. I'm not going to take anything like, okay, it's one loss. Well, our division looks like it's going to lose every game. I don't think the Seahawks are going to win tomorrow, but at the end of the day, the 49ers can't play like that. They cannot play like that. And this is Kyle's 6th season. Like, what does he have to do to learn and adjust? Does he care so much about going from play number 1 to play 65? So,
Gonzo, who's your team? If I'm saying your name right, Gonzo. Who's your team?
yeah.
Probably won't say.
Yeah. You might be a troll.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to be careful. Yeah.
But I mean, Trey Lance did do something in the press conference afterwards that Jimmy wouldn't. He said, I need to play better. Jimmy would have been like, we need to execute. We need to play better, even if the loss is like squarely on his shoulders. But yeah, Trey Lance was straight up like, I need to play better.
Prescott's coming back out for the locker.
Just said, see ya.
But yeah, we're all quiet because our team lost. As you can see, I upgraded him from koala to panda.
Panda bears are even though they look like a friendly, no, they're very, very dangerous.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, any type of animal, you know, animals are not dangerous. Like if you look at a bear, you know, because we have bears pictures, which is a very dangerous animal. The majority of their time, they're looking for food. They're looking for food.
Yep.
They're looking for shelter, and they want to be left alone. But say because like a bear, just like anyone, if a human is approaching them, they're very territorial, and so any type of animal, you just have to respect. Just like a pit bull, like my uncle owns a pit bull, the nicest dog, and if you treat it right, and if you love it, you take care of it, they're going to be like your best friend, and they're going to protect you. But if they feel like you're in danger, like because dogs are all dogs, all pets are all domesticated. They rely on humans. So if a dog realizes that, this is my, the person that feeds me, the thing that nurtures me, that takes care of me, and something's gonna hurt them, they're going to defend. The same thing with any type of animal. But
Yeah.
yeah, koala bears are very dangerous. Like they may look docile, just like what's that animal that's in the ocean? The killer whale.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they're friendly, but that thing can like grab you and take you like 100 feet, 100 yards, a mile down. You'll drown immediately. So I never understand why they have these not little, these giant killer whales in amusement parks. Like I think if you're gonna have an amusement park, you need to have like a coastal area where they're able to get like 5 to 10 miles of seawater, where it's enough for them to like swim around, and it's more easier. But just like anything, yeah.
I remember when I was a little kid, and I went to Marine World, saw the killer whale and stuff, and all this, and I told my dad, "Oh, I want a killer whale." He said, "You do? Yeah. Can we get a pool in the backyard and put one in?" He said, "If you dig the hole in the backyard and you can make a pool, I'll get you a killer whale." My mama looked at him like, "What you talking about?"
Oh,
Baby, he gonna get out and start digging and quit. He ain't gonna dig that ground. And he was right. I went out there and started digging, trying to dig a hole. Couldn't do it. So my loss getting the killer whale.
Oh man. Well, though, this Cowboys backup quarterback sucks.
That's why we got us a backup, a person.
That's something we do have. We have a decent backup. Man, I can't wait for this week to go by, though.
Yep. Oh, somebody coming in.
And it's like we better beat them sea chickens.
Is it Brian? Yeah, it's Brian.
Sweet.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Corey, David, John, how are you guys?
I'm doing good. Even though it's a loss.
Yeah.
That's sad. That was a sad loss.
It was because we were dominating at first, and then we just kept falling flat, and then after that they came back in and they scored 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Pettis scored a touchdown. And it's like once we say we don't want a player, they seem to go somewhere else and play good against us. It's funny.
Well, it makes me wonder, like, Jimmy Ward. I'm honestly looking at Pettis being open and a couple things that happened. Like Jimmy Ward wouldn't allow that to happen.
Nope.
But I mean, a good takeaway from the game. You guys saw Hufunga, right?
Yep. He had a good game.
He was all over the place, man. That guy was like, I mean, I'm honestly looking at him like, dang, he's better than Tart ever was.
Now, was he playing because Jimmy Ward was injured, or is he playing Tart's position? I get confused.
He's playing Tart's position.
Okay.
I think we had what was that guy, Greg Odom? I think he was the other starting safety today, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I also think he's a backup for a reason. Oh, he just threw a pick. Oh, this game is over.
Yep.
The Cowboys and the Bucks, it's over. 19-3.
My
Tom
bad.
Brady's out there taking knees.
I was muted. I had to take a phone call. Oh,
Yeah.
what's up, Brian?
Hey, John. Yeah, I'm just a little, like it's week one. I know, but still, and I didn't brag on, anybody, too hard or say anything, like we're gonna win or we're not gonna win. But I thought pretty confident we had a good chance going in, but it doesn't seem like the offense really was much different with Trey or Jimmy in there. They still seem to stall pretty bad. There was a little bit more explosiveness with some plays, some deeper passes, but the shorter passes, those didn't happen. So I don't know. And then I noticed once Elijah Mitchell got hurt, the offense changed. Yeah.
That's the one person I meant to say. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm hoping, I don't know. He's always getting, somebody's always getting, our running backs are always getting injured.
I know. Like last year in 11 games, he had 963 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns. When he's healthy, he's a good back, and he was doing good. Like he had some big runs, and then he got hurt, and I don't know why he gets hurt. Like why? And that's another thing that it pisses me off. Like why do our players get hurt more than anybody else? I mean, like more than all the other teams. Like Kittle on Thursday, he had a groin injury just a few days before the game started. Elijah Mitchell got hurt. And Kinlaw, for whatever the reason, had to leave in the first half, came back in the second half. So
he seemed to be nursing his ankle when he got hurt. And then he was like jogging around on the sidelines, but they didn't let him back in it. So I don't know if he just twisted his ankle, but he's got to really stay on the field, because that's the other guy I was going to say is when he came off the field on defense, it really changed the game. I know he came back in later, but it was a little bit too late, I think.
yeah.
Should have double
Man,
drafted their safety.
Kinlaw was eating them alive. I saw him in the backfield a lot. I mean, they couldn't stop him.
Yeah, in the first quarter, but like when it got to like the third and fourth after his injury, they were they were definitely holding him. They were running the ball right down Kinlaw and Armstead. When they went to run, they're running right at them, and those two can't stop the run. We're gonna have to work on that.
Yeah.
The Montana, Kyle Shanahan did not have a plan B after Mitchell went down. He panicked
Pancake.
and did not adjust.
Mhm.
Bears adjusted well in the second half. Perhaps they props to their head coaches.
Yeah. True.
I mean, dude, all those penalties killed us. I mean, oh man, every time I saw a flag, I was going, "You got to be kidding!"
Yeah.
And I mean, our coaching staff has a week to slap some discipline in this team.
Everybody was getting flags too. Every special teams, defense, offense. Tabor Pepper, the long snapper, got a flag. And that goes down to timing, because he went downfield and he was blocking downfield before the ball got punted. So, you got to practice, and I really think, by them not playing everybody in the preseason and then taking as much time off before the regular game started, I think they got too relaxed, and they need to start practicing more or
I know.
something.
I know because I don't know if anyone's seen my interview with Mike Schumann, but this was like over a year ago. I was lucky last year to get Mike Schumann, Steve Weich, Vern Glenn, but it's not easy getting any other big profile, big people on my channel. But Mike Schumann says when he arrived to the 49ers in 1978, Candlestick Park had turf, and he was telling me that players were going down. So in the 1979 season, they went back to grass. They went back to Candlestick Park, and Bill Walsh, I don't know if it was his first or second season with the Niners, implemented that players year-round, once the season ended, that they would keep the players, basically they kept the doors open. They kept, they allowed players to go to Candlestick, of course, to Santa Clara, which has always been their training facility for their entire time. And players would always stay active. They would work out. They've always had 4 preseason games going back to those days. And players would play just like always, like you said, week 1, every starter played the first quarter. Week 2, every starter played the first quarter, and then the remaining other starters will play half of the second quarter. Then it was always the starters will play the first entire half, which was usually 4, maybe 5 possessions, and then on the last week they had that week off to recuperate, but they would develop those calluses. What happened? The 49ers, with that type of working practice style, they were so good for so long. So Trent Baalke, who basically had the same philosophy as John Lynch, let's bring in high-risk players. So we've been bringing in players. So I don't know if it's going back to the Jim Baalke or if John Lynch has the mentality, but for whatever the reason, and I don't want to sound like, like I'm a hater towards Levi Stadium, which I'm not. Since they left Candlestick from 2014 to 2021, the 49ers have been averaging between 16 players on the IR for a minimum of 4 weeks and maximum, which is very, very rare, an entire season. That is not really, really good. And I'm not trying to blame the new stadium. I'm not trying to blame the new grass, but when Jim Harbaugh was coaching these guys so hard, we never had any significant injuries until Patrick Willis developed turf toe and had to retire. And a lot of players showed a lot of concern, and a lot of players left because they didn't want to play for Harbaugh. I mean, they only wanted to play for Harbaugh or our defensive coordinator Fangio, but they brought in the yes man, and they didn't want to play for Tom Sula. So there was a lot of issues anyway. But
Hey, so here's a thought. I know we're all pretty knowledgeable about this, but when did the injuries really start? Because I know, like, Kaepernick got injured and Blaine Gabbert came in, and then Kaepernick came in right before he started kneeling. He got injured. I think it was against the Rams. His left, because it was his non-throw. It was his left shoulder. It was his left knee that got hurt, and then his right arm, his right shoulder, or it was his left shoulder got hurt. But he got injured in 2 different spots. And then we had Chip Kelly that came in, and Chip Kelly started doing that run heavy, super fast, let's go really, fast football. And then after that, I started seeing everybody getting hurt. So was it the changing between Chip Kelly and John Harbaugh that, we started having all these injuries, or was the injuries already happening at that point? We weren't noticing it, because I know again, Kaepernick got hurt, and then that's why we had like the 8-8 season, or with John, and then Chip Kelly comes in, and we just haven't been able to recover since then. And I know they still have that hockey staff for the training staff for the conditioning, and I know they've been there for a couple years now, but we still keep running hurt.
So, I used to have a good relationship with this guy. His name was the Beast Rider, or Ryan Sakamoto. Apparently, I found out he now covers the Las Vegas Raiders, so he doesn't do 49er stuff no more. And one of the staffers that was on the 49ers left in 2013, so when the 2013 season, to Minnesota. And he educated me by saying that Minnesota has not had any significant serious injuries. Of course, Minnesota has had injured players, but they've never had serious, significant like ACLs, high ankle sprains, MCLs, or like very serious injuries. And he was one of the staff that was there during the Harbaugh days from 2011 to 2013, and the Vikings liked what he did, so they brought him over there, and he brought that mentality. Minnesota plays in a turf; they play in that dome, and we got hurt playing in that turf in MetLife Stadium. But the Cowboys, the Rams, the Lions, let's see, the Saints,
Falcons,
and the Falcons play in turf, and we don't see 15, 16 players on the IR from those teams, but it happens to us. So the reason why I believe that, because Harbaugh was doing the same thing, like he was hard on the players. Candlestick Park, for those who remember it, for the bulk of the entire Niners days there, they have to play on that stupid infield, and that was dangerous. But there was never no significant injuries. Like I know Jerry Rice got one of the years. I think I was very young, so I don't know, but he did miss a long portion of time in one of the seasons, but we never had the consistency what's going on. And again, I'm just going by the information that has been told to me. I'm putting 2 and 2 together. I could be wrong, but
No, but you put in good facts out there, and it's all good points, because like you go back to Candlestick again, they used to have to put longer cleats, screw in their cleats, longer studs, because the field was so sloppy. And I don't know if there was a damage to it when they changed it from turf and went to grass, but I don't know if there was leaking at that time. But since Candlestick's been around, they've always had like some kind of seepage underneath the field right there. So the Niners have always had to put longer studs on it. And when it's your home field, you know where to run, you know where the holes are, the gopher holes are, you know where to cut and stuff like that at. So I've seen it many games where it was Candlestick and the other teams were slipping and sliding, they didn't know what to do, and then you'd hear announcers say, well, there's a soggy turf of Candlestick. So with us having a new stadium like Levi, and we still keep getting hurt, it's got to be either they're not conditioning the right way in the off season, or they're over training, and then when they come in and they start to practice regularly, they let up off of it, and something's just given out. Because again, you're drafting people that are hurt to begin with. They're coming in, they're letting them have time to rehab. This isn't a rehab team. This is a football team. You don't want to draft players that are hurt all the time, because eventually they're going to have to play. And if they can't play, they're hurt, you can't put anybody on the team on the field. But yeah, it's just something that's going to have to change, because you didn't have this stuff happening when you had like 6 preseason games and there was 14 games a season. Or if it did, it just wasn't over announced, because the media now is announcing everything. You hear about a guy has an ingrown toe now, it's like everything's just getting blown out of proportion. But yeah, we definitely got to play better. We got to play better, and they got to do something, because this laid back, oh, we got the lead, and then the next thing you know, we don't have the lead, because they're not changing or adapting to the rest of what's happening in the rest of the game. If you're coming out in the beginning of the game and you can't run, and the opportunity opens up to pass, you start passing. Well, if the other team doesn't, make adjustments for you to start passing, then you're gonna have a field day. And that's exactly what happened. The rain stopped a little bit and they were able to throw the ball. And then right when we got the ball again, it starts raining on us. And did anybody else see like the lack of enthusiasm? There was like 6 minutes or 7 minutes and we had the ball and there wasn't like a hurry up to it. It didn't seem like the pressure didn't seem to be there. It was like, oh, go ahead and go see what you can do. If you can win it, you can win it. But I just don't feel like the confidence was there, at a certain point. It was just like, oh, we lost this one.
And like if the Niners, and I don't want to say this, but say we have a losing season, and if Jed York is like, all right, let's run this back 2023. No, you have to say, you know what, Kyle, you've developed a good team. John Lynch, you develop a good team. So the question is going to be, who are they going to throw under the bus? Like John Lynch, I think in the next couple of seasons, I don't think he wants. That's why Adam Peters has been the assistant general manager. Now he almost left to either he interviewed with the Denver Broncos and he also interviewed with the New York Giants. Now, I would rather have Adam Peters as the general manager, and what I would do is I would say, Kyle, you're a great coach, but I'm going to promote D'Amico as the head coach because he's not going to have any personal vendetta when it comes to his offense. Because D'Amico, he's a winner, and today D'Amico and his defense showed that they're going to have their bad moments, but you want to keep this culture together, and that's what you do. And D'Amico is a coaching candidate. So that's if I was Jed York. Now, is this going to happen? No, but hypothetically, I think Kyle's a good play caller. I think he's a good play caller. I would even I'll even say, you know what? I would let Kyle go, and I would just say, all right, our assistant head coach, Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn is the same thing as Kyle. They run the football. He's a good run game coordinator, and has coaching NFL experience and also coordinating experience. So what's not to like?
You know what's going to happen? You was just hypothetically, cut him loose like next season. He's going to go right to Seattle, and then he'll beat us. That will be, he's going to retire, especially if he has a bad season this year. This could be last year for him in Seattle. And then we was let Kyle go. If we get rid of Kyle, there's going to be like 10 teams ready to jump on him right away. He definitely needs somebody behind him, and maybe Anthony Lynn's not the right guy, but this is week one, and I think that's what Anthony Lynn was, hired to be, is that guy that's like puts his hand on his shoulder and says, "Calm down, let's get back to basics." And I think D'Amico's going to be gone. I think that's why Fangio keeps showing up, and I think that's what's going to happen is there's going to be Fangio next season, and we're going to have D'Amico. He's going to be a head coach somewhere else. Anthony Lynn will be there. He might be a little bit more of the head coach than we really understand, because I think he was really hired to take off any pressure from Kyle, so Kyle can just focus on the offense. When you hire like a coordinator like Brian Greasy, who's never been a coordinator or a quarterback coach, it's kind of a little weird to say that Kyle's not really the offensive coordinator. He is, and maybe he's just doing a little bit too much right now. But we got to get Trey Lance to throw the ball a little lower, man. He was just, I think that was the only big deal is he was just missing those throws a little too high. And I know people said Jimmy's done it and CJ and Mullins and everybody else, but it's like, are they really throwing to like a number on the field or a dot on the field, or are they trying to throw to the wide receiver open? Because there was spots where he tried to throw it to Juice. He would way threw it over Juice's head. There's been, and I know he's going to get better. He's a rookie, but that's, I think, what we really need to do is just get him to throw the short passes a little bit better. He can throw it 80 yards, but we need him to throw it 5 yards.
Well, and this is the thing, again, everyone has a different point of view. Everyone has a different idea. But, the last time the 49ers were, truly, relevant for a long term was the history that we have, the 80s and 90s. Then, since 2003, the 49ers have had 6 winning seasons and 2 seasons where we've been 500. So we've had 8 seasons where we did not have losing records. But that's still a long time. of losing. Okay, so there are people like me who like we're just tired of this merry-go-round. It doesn't make any sense. And Kyle and John, like this is what Jed York wants. He wants two people who can coexist together, and it's working. John Lynch and Kyle have a good relationship, but just because you have a good relationship, if the product isn't showing, and let's go back to 2017. Okay, 2017. Kyle Shanahan is hired, and he brings in not Jed York. He brings in John Lynch. What we know now, Mitchell Trubisky went to the Chicago Bears. He developed. He had a 28-20 record. He had a winning record, but the Bears are the Bears. Deshaun Watson is drafted and has a good rookie season. I think plays 5 or 6 games and then suffers an ACL injury. He had 18 touchdowns in 5 or 6 games on a team that was developing. So Deshaun Watson had the talent. And then Patrick Mahomes goes to a team already suited with a lot of young players. Alex Smith is not a bad quarterback. They messed up. Like, even if he would have got Mitchell Trubisky, I think we would have been set. I think he would have had a bit of that mixture of a pocket quarterback and a quarterback that can use their legs. That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
John, I think though since Kyle's came into our offense, and I think you know what I'm going to say, he's wanted a veteran at the quarterback position. I think the narrative around him is they want him to see if he can develop a quarterback so it can be his personal quarterback. But he wanted Kirk Cousins when he came to our team, and he held back because he wanted Kirk Cousins. He got Brian Hoyer, the Destroyer, and he was okay with that guy for a couple of games, and then put CJ in because CJ was his rookie pick, but he doesn't trust rookies. And at this point, I think it's coming out, maybe he can't develop rookies because he did get RG3 hurt. And it just seems like every time he gets to pick somebody that he wants, if it's not Kirk Cousins, he seems to ruin them. And I don't know. Maybe he shouldn't be picking players. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, here's the thing that a lot of people like, the owner of Washington was not going to. They were not going to trade Kirk Cousins to him. That was not going to happen, no matter what.
No, we don't. The Niners don't trade with Washington. They don't have a good relationship.
So, yeah.
There's a couple of teams that the Niners just don't trade with. They whatever, if it's on the other team or whatever, but we don't do business with too many teams.
All right. Hello there. Hello.
Corey Davis, thanks for bringing me on. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Dave Clark, lifelong, loyal Cleveland Browns fan since 1978. I'm pretty up on Cleveland Browns history. I've studied the team when it was under the head coach of Paul Brown, back when they were actually a football team before my lifetime. But Corey Davis is one of my admins in my NFL group, 32 NFL Teams Warzone group. He invited me to join through Messenger. So here I am, and you guys can carry on. Thanks for saying hello. Dave Clark. Hi, everybody.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Are you from the Cleveland area, or you live somewhere else?
No. I was born and raised right here in Northeast Ohio. I'm in the Akron area. I'm 35 miles south of Cleveland, only 25 miles north of Canton, Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I was born and raised here, and to elaborate on that a little bit, Northeast Ohio has a lot of roots that people aren't really aware of. That kind of goes back. It goes back to the days of Paul Brown when he started as a high school coach at Massillon, and they named the stadium down there at Massillon High School Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. And then, well, if you really want to go back to the roots, the first professional football team was the Canton Bulldogs in 1934, which, of course, as most will figure out, that's why the Pro Football Hall of Fame is in Canton, Ohio. So, to me, living here, being born here, raised here, living here, being a football fanatic. When I was in high school, I was really a high school football guru at the time growing up, and it's just kind of like a ritual ambiance here in this area of Ohio, where all the roots trace back to, and it just kind of it's just a feeling knowing that a lot of this all started right here in this area. It's great to be from this area, growing up in this area, and a lot of tradition goes back where the game first started and evolved. We'll never forget about Jim Brown, Jim Brown was also a movie star. I'm gonna say, I guess. Compared to today's game, we could see how it's really changed and it's evolved differently now. It's a passing league today, and it seems like the bar has been set so high for quarterbacks. It seems like quarterbacks. I'm on a level where if a quarterback is going to succeed in the top 10 and actually be a playoff caliber, conference championship caliber quarterback, seems like they're going to have to throw anywhere between 3,800 and 4,300 yards, where you didn't have to do that back in the day. But I've said enough. You guys carry on. I just fill you in a little bit about me. And hey, Corey, how you been? Everything good with you?
Yeah, it's pretty going cool.
All right. I hope you're feeling okay. I hope
Yeah.
you're recovering well. All right.
Well, hey, thanks for jumping on. My great grandfather was a mayor of Ohio, of a little village called Warren. He was a mayor for 20 years. My dad was born in Columbus, Ohio, and I was living in Dayton, Ohio when I was 3. Dayton, Ohio was the place where the first original football game was ever played, I guess. And hey, let me ask you a question since you're a Cleveland Brown fan. What do you know about Otto Graham? Did he win 10 championships or 8 championships?
No, he made 10 championship appearances and he won 8 of 10.
Okay, I get that.
That's why his number 14 jersey is retired. And
now he wore 14 and 00, right?
14.
Only 14?
And what was the other number?
00.
I'd have to look that up. I remember seeing all the ones with 14, but he might have. I'd have to Google that, really, because when I think Otto Graham, I think of 14, but he might have. You know, you might be right. Maybe he changed his number. Maybe he started out with 00 and then he changed to 14. I don't remember. Well, of course, I don't remember. I wasn't born then, but I'd have to look that up. But 14 is retired. Let's say.
He's basically the only quarterback that Cleveland's really had, huh?
Well, no, I was getting ready to get to that. The only other 2 franchise quarterbacks Cleveland has had, other than Otto Graham, was Brian Sipe. And in 1980, I witnessed it because, of course, I started watching the Browns in 78. I was 13 in 1980. I witnessed Brian Sipe, the Cardiac Kids season. They finished 11-5. They were AFC Central Division champions. And that was the year that Brian Sipe threw for 4,000, a league high 4,133 yards passing. And in 1980, that was unheard of by a quarterback because, you know, you couldn't. I mean, you could tackle a wide receiver back then. You could jam a wide receiver at the line of scrimmage at that 5-yard chuck zone. You could tackle a wide receiver. Jack Tatum and what's his name? Atkins. That Atkins of the Oakland Raiders, the Soul Patrol, the safeties, they would just level guys, man, and it was legal back then. So it was unheard of for a quarterback to throw that. Plus, they ran so much back then and played good defense, low-scoring games, game of field position. But anyways, Brian Sipe earned league MVP honors that year. And his franchise record with the Cleveland Browns, 41-33 passing, still stands to this day. Our other franchise quarterback was Bernie Kosar. So those are the 3. And then, you know, I wish Baker Mayfield all the best. I wish him success. I can't get myself to hate Mayfield. I'm not a Mayfield hater. There's just something about the kid. He never rubbed me wrong. You know, if you're talking Johnny Manziel, you mentioned his name. I'll tell you that Johnny Manziel's name should never be brought up in the media again. We need to move on from that head case and never bring his name up again because he's a born loser. Period. I mean, he had no right even being in the league. But
Hey, I got one more question, and I'll leave you alone. My daughter, she's really interested about football. She knows I go on these channels all the time, and I'm reading, and she's got jerseys and she knows some players. So she's asked me the other day. She said, "Dad, do you know why the Browns stopped being a football team and they come back into the league?" And I kind of know, but can you tell us why they stopped being a team?
Yeah, it was announced in 1995. Unfortunately, right in the middle of the season with Bill Belichick in 1995, Art Modell announced that at the end of that season, he'd be moving the team to Baltimore. So the players didn't play, and they lost all their remaining games except for the final game at home against the Cincinnati Bengals, December of 95, and they finished 5-11. But when Art Modell prematurely announced that, with maybe 9 games left in the regular season, the Browns went on an 8-game losing streak. I mean, they weren't going to play. No one on the team was going to lose. However, they managed to win their last home game. And it was sad because the players were saying goodbye to the fans at Old Cleveland Municipal Stadium before it was torn down. And some of the players, I forgot who our center was back then. The fans, they wouldn't let go of the players. Not that they were mugging him and not that they were trying to do anything bad. It's just that they were so sad and they didn't want to lose our team. They didn't want to let the guys go, and they were holding on to them, and they just wouldn't let them go. They were trying to hold on to something they couldn't keep anymore. It was pretty sad to see them it was kind of sad to see how the fans were holding on to them. But it was 95, so the move took place in 96, and then the expansion team came back in 1999, which the city of Cleveland won litigation against the NFL to retain the Cleveland Browns name, colors, tradition, history, records, everything. So when Baltimore took the original team, if I want to word it that way, to Baltimore, actually, in all reality, the Baltimore Ravens became an expansion team, if you want to look at it that way, because they went over there as Baltimore Ravens, new color, and their record book started in 1996. It's like they started with a clean slate. So when the Browns started in 99 as an expansion team, we kept all our history, tradition, records, and all that. Now, it's to my knowledge that the league was very, very bitter and upset about that litigation taken against them. So, I mean, I can't prove this. It's just a theory. But to some degree, I mean, I think the league told us that we're going to suck for the next 20, 22 years because of doing that. And we've only got like 3 winning seasons to show for it out of 22 years of being an expansion team. We got, I believe 3 winning seasons, 3 playoff games, and 1 playoff win to show for it. That's, that's it. And as far as this year, I don't, my expectations are real. I got Homer Cleveland Browns fans that despise me because I don't sugarcoat it and tell them what they want to hear. And to be all reality, I mean, Cleveland will finish anywhere from 6-11 at worst to 8-9 at best, maybe somewhere in the middle around 7-10. So I don't look for Jacoby Brissett to win as many games. It was nice today to see a rookie kicker come through and nail a clutch 58-yard field goal with only 8 seconds left in the game. So that made me feel warm and fuzzy knowing that we actually have we might have a kicker now. I don't want to curse the guy. This is Cleveland. He could turn to shit at any given second from what I've seen. Maybe he's for real. The other gentleman, you said from Warren. You talk about somebody from Warren, a relative of yours from Warren. You talk about Warren out by Youngstown?
Right. Here.
Yeah. Yeah, how about Youngstown? Yeah. If you remember Maurice Claret, you remember that name from Ohio State. Maurice Claret played for one of the Warren high schools out there. I forget which high school, but he played for, I think, Warren Harding High School. And then he went to Ohio State, and then he got cut by the Denver Broncos. And then I think 3 years after that, he got arrested and went off to prison for 8 years. Not that we should talk about him, but he's from Warren.
Mm.
But anyhow, that's my take on where we're at. I was hoping Baker Mayfield could become a franchise quarterback for us when they didn't re-sign him. Before they made the trade for Deshaun Watson, I was looking at Mayfield finishing his 5th-year option with Cleveland. Okay, I really was. I was looking at Mayfield being the starter beginning of this offseason before they made the trade to get Watson. And then I was looking at if they weren't going to sign Mayfield long-term or extend him, which I didn't expect him to extend him, but I thought, why not just play him under the franchise tag at least 1 year until you acquire somebody else at quarterback? But when they made this move for Watson, because I believe in the draft. I believe there's talent in the draft. I like draft picks. I believe if you scout right, you put together a good draft plan, you could, there's talent in the draft. That's where you acquire your talent. It's not in free agents. You just got to hit on your picks, which Cleveland hasn't hit on many picks, but you got to have those picks available because sooner or later, you're going to get a draft right sooner or later. So we gave up 3 first-round draft picks and a 5th rounder, and we gave up something else. We gave up a lot. Yeah, we don't even know Watson's going to be able to shake off the rust. And the bad, what do you call it? The bad juju that goes with Watson's name. I mean, you'll never see me wear a Deshaun Watson jersey. I can't even put the guy up as my quarterback, get all the backlash from it. So I don't know. Even Watson's going to be an unknown if he's going to be able to shake this off and be the player he once was in the 2020 season with the Houston Texans. And you just don't pick up where you left off, and you got to shake off the rust, acclimate to our offense, and I don't know. I don't know what to expect from the guy.
It's like he's the new Michael Vick of the league.
I don't know.
Michael Vick was good. He had all that talent. Then he got in trouble, and then he had to go to prison, and then come back, and he had all that hate.
Yeah. Well,
so here's a question: Do you think the Texans knew about all this stuff, and they're the ones who leaked it? Because he wanted to leave Houston, and then all of a sudden, all this comes out.
Well, I mean, the best answer I can give you is there's just so many theories regarding that, and it's what you just said there. It's possible. I don't know for sure. I mean, I can only form my own opinion and draw my own theory about it. But I remember Watson signed his contract extension September of 2020 before the deadline, and then in January of 2021, he demanded to be traded, said he'd never play another down for Houston again. And then March of 2021, all these allegations start coming out. I really don't know it because that's
very convenient.
There's just so much involved in that, and it's such a cluster bomb to unravel, to try to process it and piece it all together that I can't give you an answer, and I can't give you an opinion. If I want to throw anybody under the bus right now, okay, and I've done this before several times, the Cleveland Browns owner, Jimmy Haslam, because I believe, and I can't prove it, that Haslam forced our general manager, Andrew Berry, to go after and acquire Deshaun Watson. Whereas, for the most part, if Jimmy Haslam would like leave it alone and let the people run what they got to run and let them and if he would stand by their decisions they want to make. Unfortunately, the people in the front office that Jimmy Haslam has hired to make decisions, they're allowed to make any type of group decision they want. After they make that decision, the final it has to pass his approval. If he doesn't approve of it, then he can override their decision of what they want to do. And I'm pretty sure, Andrew Berry didn't want Deshaun Watson with all you had to give away for him. But the only thing that Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski did is they sat down with Baker Mayfield's agent at the scouting combine in Indianapolis last March. And they told his agent right there to his face in person that they were set to start this season with Baker Mayfield as a starting quarterback. They said, but however, if we have an opportunity to upgrade the position by trading for Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, or Deshaun Watson, we will explore those avenues. And then initially, Deshaun Watson turned down Cleveland for a trade because Watson has the no trade clause that he would have to waive to go to a team. He initially turned down Cleveland, and it was announced that he was deciding between New Orleans and Atlanta. And then I thought, okay, good. Let this guy at the time this happened, I said, okay, good. Let this guy go to Atlanta. We'll go back to his hometown. He's down there in Gainesville, Georgia. Just let Atlanta happen. And then, unfortunately, when Watson turned us down, Mayfield's feelings were hurt. I don't believe the organization did him wrong. I don't believe they did him dirty. I believe Mayfield took it personal, and he got in his feelings. His little feelings got hurt. And Mayfield said, okay, you're not getting rid of me first. I'm going to get rid of you first. Mayfield said, I demand to be traded to the Indianapolis Colts. He specifically said Indianapolis, I demand to be traded there. And so, with that being said, we weren't going to have a quarterback. We weren't even going to have Deshaun Watson. So, I believe Jimmy Haslam approached Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski and said, all right, let's offer Watson as his agent this $230 million fully guaranteed contract, make him the highest paid quarterback in the league. Outside of Mahomes, I thought Mahomes was the highest paid, unless he redid his contract. I think maybe Mahomes. I think Mahomes of Kansas City. I think he might have redone his contract to keep free up cap space. But I think they decided to do that for Watson to get him there, and I think that's all Haslam. So if this doesn't work out for us, and there's a chance it doesn't, Haslam's going to look stupid, and I don't agree with Haslam throwing the head coach and the general manager under the bus for his incompetent decision making. I really don't. Sometimes, okay, don't get me wrong. Of course, I'm not the owner of the Cleveland Browns. I'm not the general manager. I'm not the coach. I do what I do for a living like the rest of them do. But we're allowed to talk sports, talk NFL, talk our team, and kind of form our opinions, so to speak. If we have facts to back up our opinions, or if we can base our opinions on facts, that's a stronger case for us as we discuss these things. But I disagree if Haslam's going to throw these people under the bus if it doesn't work out for him. At the same time, if it works out, Haslam's going to say he's a genius. So, I mean, we knew the risk involved going after Watson, and we just don't know how it's going to turn out this time. We know he's coming back week 13. He's going to be rusty. He's going to have week 13. He'll start at Houston, and I think all you guys would agree with me. You just don't turn it on and bring Watson in week 13 and just press a button and turn it on and expect them to pick up as this elite level and just carry the team on his back. And
yeah,
and make everything happen. So I've said enough. Anybody else?
Well, it's definitely interesting, the Watson situation. I know last year before we got Trey Lance, the Niners were very interested in him. They were holding out to try to trade for him. I know the Broncos and the Niners were the two top runners for the landing spot of Watson. And then as time went on, the Niners weren't able to make a deal with Houston, and then all the allegations came out. So the Niners went on to draft Trey Lance, but before that happened, they tried to trade for Aaron Rodgers the night before. So Watson's definitely going to be a good quarterback for you guys. But as far as coming into Week 14 and being like super man, it depends on him as a professional, if he's going to have rhythm, if he's practicing with people, and because I guess it just boils down to chemistry. But
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
you definitely give us a lot of information.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Like again, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not a lawyer. Again, I know nothing, but like this Deshaun Watson situation, and again, I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not uh, speaking for anyone but myself. Is that I enjoyed. There was a former NFL player. He played in the 80s and 90s. I don't know who he was, but they interviewed him on one of the major sports networks, and they were talking about him, and he said this back then when he became famous, like his community, everybody wanted a piece of him, and he understood that if he did anything out in public, if he did something, there was going to be situations where people are going to, oh, this person, he did this to me, yada yada yada. So he did everything in the team facility. When it came to massages, training, it was in the team facility. He never did nothing outside, and that's how he uh, did his entire career, because he knew, when you become not just a famous athlete, but a famous person in general in any type of industry, you're going to be like judged, the good, the bad, and whatever. So
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson made his bed, and
Yeah.
I was taught, that phrase by my grandfather, rest in peace. But he taught me, Deshaun Watson, you made your bed. These things happen to you, and you have to deal with them. And whatever the situation is, we don't know. We don't know if it's all lies, if it's true. We don't know. And again, I'm not gonna say an opinion. I'm not gonna say,
Not to interrupt you, if I could exceed a little bit and then let you talk again. Now,
yeah, go ahead.
some of the women were caught on depositions where they withdrew their complaints and their cases because they admitted to lying and falsifying and going after Watson, the blackmailing for money. There was like nine depositions that were tossed out, 9 out of 12. Eight out of 12 that were tossed out because they were falsified and lied. So there were some of these women. There's 8 right there that I can tell you for sure that jumped on a bandwagon to go against them to try to get to cash in on the meal ticket, the money grab. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but there's some. There's a handful.
And of course, just like you said, and then so legally, like in the court of law, a judge said, all right, person not commit crime. So that's what the judge said. Felonies, whatever. Now, civilly, all that stuff, that could take years, whatever, yada yada, and that's happened. That's the court system, whatever. Now, overall, it's always going to happen. Like there was this show on HBO back in the mid 2000s where there were these women from LA. They lived in the poorest community, and they would date Laker, Clippers, and Warrior players when they were in town. And these young players would lavish these women with a lot of stuff, but they would also, you know, do things, and and they admitted it in front of a camera, in front of, this is what we do. So of course it's going to happen in any type of industry, not just sports in general. So we do have to also take account of that. So, but at the end of the day, like just like this former football player said, Deshaun Watson, if you wanted a massage, you should have done it in a team facility instead of doing it wherever you should have done it in the team facility. And basically, what the moral of this player is, you decide to do that. This is your downfall. and people are gonna hate you or people are gonna love you. It's just what it is, and that's basically how he kept it. I'm the same way. He did what he did. That's your fault. And again, I don't like name calling people, but that's what he gets for being stupid. So that's how I look at it. The situation. Again, I'm not saying Deshaun Watson is a good person, is a bad person. It's just that's the situation, circumstances, and if people want to like him, that's their choice. If people want to hate him, that's their choice. I'm glad he's not my quarterback because if I had to crap, if he was a 49er, I was like, damn it. It'll be a conflict of interest. So,
well, I mean, if we had it to do over again, I mean, now let's back up again to February after the Super Bowl, where you go into the beginning of your around March, where you go into your off season mode. I was all prepared to. I mean, I had no issue with Baker Mayfield finishing his, and I meant this before we acquired Watson. Well, I don't have to validate myself. Corey Davis knows me. He knows. He'll tell you. He'll tell you I was on this. I even told Corey this before the season. He remembers. Mm-hmm. I was all set and ready to go with Mayfield as the starter, and I thought worst case scenario, if he doesn't play up to expectations on his fifth year option, you simply let him walk in free agency in 2023. That's simple enough. You just let the guy walk. Or if you want to tag him and pay him $45 million for 1 year on a franchise tag, which is overpaying him for 1 year, if you want to hit him with a franchise tag, you would have had that option. I want to see what one more year out of Mayfield could have done. The 2021 season, he had a torn labrum in his left shoulder, non-throwing shoulder, week 2 against the Houston Texans. And he finished the rest of the season playing on one arm and did the best he could with a torn labrum. So, I mean, had he not tore his labrum against Houston, I'm sure he would have done a little better. Not that we would have won more games necessarily or been a playoff contender. I'm not saying that either. But I believe that injury definitely hindered Mayfield last year.
Holy fuck.
What's that?
Oh, none. I was just messaging someone and they asked me if I could pick him up and carry him, but 315 pounds might be a bit much for me.
So, anyways, I got a question for you four. Are you guys all 49ers or what team is everybody here? Corey's 49ers. Who else?
Yeah, everyone's 49ers. The bear symbols was paying a bet.
Is this a 49ers show, Corey?
Other players could come in here and talk
It's
about
an
their
NFL.
team.
It's an NFL show. You just got your 49ers buddies with you, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So now back up now before we acquired Kevin Stefanski as head coach. Back up to we got Stefanski in 2020. So back up to the offseason of 2020 when we were interviewing head coaches. We also interviewed Robert Saleh. I mispronounced his last name. Your former defensive coordinator, Salah. Is it Saleh or Salah?
Salah.
Robert Saleh. I announced back then that I was ready for Cleveland to make a move and acquire Saleh as new head coach over Stefanski because he was defensive minded. And I remember Corey telling me in the group message chat, said, "Nah, Dave, you don't want him as your head coach." So, how do you guys feel with Robert Saleh's position over there with the New York Jets? Do you think with the talent in Cleveland, Saleh might have had a little bit better success as a head coach in Cleveland? Any thoughts on that? Feedback?
Well, this is my personal opinion. I think, David, Corey, and Brian, but when he was a 49er, he was very conservative on third downs. He was a good coordinator, just very conservative. Now, I'm not sure why he went to the Jets. Maybe the Jets really liked him. because he's from Michigan, so I think he wanted to go to Detroit, but I think he realized, no disrespect to Detroit, but if he would have went to Cleveland, he would have built the defense. It would have took some time, but I think going to Cleveland maybe would have been more better for him because again the Jets. I don't know what's going to happen in the upcoming years, but I personally did not like Robert Saleh, but I think he would have been very conservative. I don't think he would have been like a guy who would have been like, all right, let's trade all these draft picks to get this guy. I think he would have been very conservative, and he would have done the same thing how Shanahan does. Let's keep our draft picks and develop in the draft. It would have been a slow process, but that's who he is. Very conservative when it comes to his decision.
Okay, because go back to 2014, Cleveland had Kyle Shanahan as our offensive coordinator, and then I think I want to say it was halfway through the 2015 season, maybe towards the end of the 2015 season. Kyle Shanahan asked Cleveland if they would let him out of his contract and let him go, and Cleveland was like, "Yeah, you want to go? You can go. There you go." They let him out of it. He wanted to walk. So here, I mean, you guys have a good head coach, and he was and this good head coach of yours was already in Cleveland. So I mean, Cleveland has had opportunities to grab a hold of personnel, coaching and player wise, and have not made anything happen or taken advantage of the opportunities when they've had them.
When you bring up 2014 and him being on the team and stuff, and Kyle being there in Cleveland, do you know anything about the rumors that John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh was going to be traded to Cleveland when he was the last year he was with the 49ers? Did you hear anything about that?
Cleveland was
supposedly we had announced that we were trying to trade him to Cleveland, and we did it in the middle of the season, or right before the season started. It was like right after preseason. So Cleveland
was trying to acquire Jim Harbaugh at that time, and they couldn't. They were interested in him. They were trying to get him, and they couldn't get the deal done. That's true.
Okay, on a week pick sheets, when a team end up in a tie, how you count that?
Well, that's screwed up there. Yeah, I wouldn't know.
The
NFL shouldn't allow ties, man. They should play with somebody wins. That screws everybody up.
Yeah, because today who ended up in a tie? Colts and Houston and Indianapolis Colts end up in a tie. I'm like, man. And so I said, I guess we count that as a loss since this is our team that we picked didn't win. They tied, but we didn't win.
Or counted as a tie. Just put it down there. You have so many wins, so many losses, and then you picked the tie and put a star next to it or something.
But yeah, all right. I'm gonna give my take on Saleh here. So I think he's a good coordinator. I don't think he's a good head coach, and I could be proven wrong next year if he actually does something. Because it's only his second season being a head coach and building a team, and it takes 2 or 3 years. I mean, if we see some sort of progress this year, which I seriously doubt it, then I could again be proven wrong. But I just don't think the guy's a head coach material.
How about you, Corey? Do you think Robert Saleh is head coach material?
No.
Well, I mean, do you think
I wouldn't want the 49ers to hire him as a head coach.
Do you think I'm gonna be specific here, right? I'm gonna blast. Do you think Robert Saleh is a bum as a head coach, but a good coordinator?
Yes.
Yes.
Corey, do you think Robert Saleh is a bum as a head coach, but he's a good coordinator?
He's a good coordinator, but he's not. I don't think he's a head coach.
Do you think he's a bum as a head coach?
A bum.
I'm blasting him.
I think it's to be determined at this point still because, like
Yeah.
David said, it takes a little bit of time for your team to gel around you, and you have to get your personnel and your, a lot of people's personalities and stuff. Maybe that's why Kyle left Cleveland because he just wasn't getting along with people. They didn't like his hat he was wearing or something. So for Solid just to be there right now, he's still got a little bit of time to prove it. But for the situation the city he's in, I think that has a lot to do with it too, because certain areas you have to go in and win. You're expected to win in San Francisco, you're expected to win in Dallas, you're expected to win in Green Bay, New York, LA. Those are like the two biggest industries in America. So when anyone's there, like the Giants and the Jets, they have extreme pressure on them right away to succeed, but we know their history.
All right, then, Corey. I guess Salah is not a bum head coach yet. As of yet, he still has time to prove himself. But his status for right now, he's a good coordinator, and you don't believe he can cut it as a head coach. So we'll see how he does, and he could earn the bum. What do you call it? The bum label in time, but he hasn't earned the bum label yet. All right, I want to blast
just like he was an office coordinator. He was what's his name? He was a good office coordinator.
Greg Roman.
He'll go to a team and they be winning, but they make him a head coach.
Greg Roman, maybe, or
no. He was
Mike.
He was our office coordinator one time. He was San Diego's head coach one time.
You're talking about Norv Turner, are you?
No.
Norv Turner, yeah, I think that's who you're talking about.
It's about Norv?
Yeah.
You're talking about Norv Turner. Yeah, because Norv Turner, then he went back to being offensive coordinator, and he was offensive coordinator in Cleveland in like 2013 for one season. He was Norv Turner was offensive coordinator in Cleveland in 2013 with Rob Chudzinski as the head coach.
He was a good offensive coordinator. He teams winning when we, but then when they made him a head coach,
yep,
it's like
I don't know if he had 1 year as a Raiders head coach too. I'd have to look him up.
I was going to say that. I think he was a Raider coach too, but I'm not for sure on
that. There is a big chance he was a head coach for the Raiders for one season. Now, I'm saying it's a big percentage, but I'm not 100% sure.
We'd have to Google it if we weren't on this StreamYard app.
So yeah, like I want to talk about Robert Saleh one more time. Good coordinator, but very conservative coordinator. Now, when it comes to his coach, the Jets have a lot of young talent, and I mean a lot of good young talent.
Raw talent, yeah.
They do. They did bring in. I found out that they brought in Solomon Thomas because they got a good relationship from the 49ers. They got DJ Reed. They brought in Lincoln Tomlinson. So he did bring in some veterans from the Niners, still young, under the age of 30, and with all the young players they got, like I think they just won 4 games last year. But if the Jets win 6, maybe 7 games at best, and then they start to get more wins, after that, they are developing a winning culture. But I've said this, that Robert Saleh, when he went to the Jets, I said I won't be surprised in 3 or 4 years he returns back to the 49ers if D'Amico Ryans whenever he leaves. Because earlier someone was talking about Vic Fangio returning to the 49ers. And yes, he's been with an OTAs and training camp, but Vic Fangio, I don't know what scheme he ran when Harbaugh was.
He ran a 3-4 defense.
All right. Switch gears for a second. I know we're talking about Salah. Okay, explain to me, because you guys know your own team and your own coaches, and you talk too, Corey. You're being too quiet over there. Explain to me why Jim Harbaugh comes in. He makes a Super Bowl appearance. It was a Harbaugh versus Harbaugh Super Bowl. He took Colin Kaepernick and took him to the Super Bowl. Took him to an NFC Championship game the following year and lost to Seattle.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was just a tip drill. The ball got tipped in the Sherman's what was it? Richard Sherman's hands. So I mean, Cap and Harbaugh, they had a second shot to repeat to make a second appearance in the Super Bowl. And it's hard to do when you lose a Super Bowl to go back. A lot of teams go on a Super Bowl hangover. They lose a Super Bowl and they don't get back to that. They don't get back to that shot again. So explain to me why it seemed like Harbaugh had. I mean, he didn't do that bad at San Francisco. He did well at Frisco. I thought.
It was because
Why did he decide to go back to Michigan? Because he's too high strung. He couldn't get along with the owner. He knows it's an easy ride in college. What's his deal?
It was him and Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
Trent Baalke and him didn't get along. They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Harbaugh wanted this Baalke.
Baalke. Oh,
he's now the general manager for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Let's not even talk about Trent Baalke.
Okay, all right.
So what had happened after that championship loss?
There was wait before you go. There was politics there, but go on about the championship loss. All right, there's politics.
So what had happened with that loss? They all sat down. The owners, Jed York, Prague, the financial wizard, whatever you want to call him. I think he should be gone already, but he's the owner's friend. He's probably the only friend of the owners. So he's still here. He's made a lot of financial decisions for this team, and he's been really the general manager in the backgrounds, because if he doesn't like a player, we get rid of him. He doesn't make the finances work, whatever. So they sat down, and it was Trent Baalke, the owner, Jed York, and it was Prague, and it was Harbaugh. They sat down, and this is all speculation, but they sat down and there was some words exchanged. So then that's when the next season they tried to trade him to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And then they tried their best, but they started tanking because players started getting hurt. Kaepernick, he got hurt. They really fell apart at the end. I think they lost like their last 4 games in December. So it got really ugly right there. And then that's when he decided, he was going to go back to Michigan, because he felt like, after, being sideways, blasted in the Super Bowl, he felt like it was probably best for him to go back to the college. And that's what ended up happening with him. Yeah. But there was even rumors of him going to the Raiders. There's been rumors of him coming to other teams. Mm-hmm. So it's not that he's a bad coach. It was the people couldn't get along. Yeah. And because they couldn't get along, our dynasty window closed right then.
Yeah. So
the friction that was generated between Trent Baalke and the front office, and it goes to politics. Real quick though, why this is on my mind, so I think to ask you guys. If I was to compare Baker Mayfield with somebody, I don't know if he'll develop this way. I notice how Alex Smith, first overall draft pick, 2005 San Francisco 49ers. Alex Smith had a up and down roller coaster career, but at the end of his career, he finished with I guess 3 different teams, and he still had respectable stats. I think he had a couple playoff wins, and overall, he was still a successful quarterback. He was not a bust. I mean, yeah, he didn't take San Francisco anywhere, but overall, he still had he succeeded in the league. I was thinking that maybe Mayfield could end up somewhere like an Alex Smith type guy, not like Mayfield. Mayfield's not going to win you a Super Bowl, and not that Deshaun Watson's capable of winning one either with what he's got to go up against and what he's got going against him. But I was thinking maybe Mayfield would be comparable to Smith. The bad thing about drafting a quarterback first overall, somebody, I'm not going to say this guy's name, but he tries to plant in the minds of people that if a quarterback's taken first overall, it's an automatic that quarterback is expected to lead that team, become a franchise player, and win a Super Bowl for him. And that's a crock of shit because Alex Smith is a prime example where he can be selected first overall and still have a respectable playing career.
Well, Alex Smith, he did get a bad rap, but I think it was his very first game that he got to start. He injured his throwing shoulder, and then they started having a rotation at quarterback. He couldn't stay healthy for a couple of seasons, and then he had 7 coordinators in his time as the quarterback right there, and he was back and forth in the starting position. And there's a certain point, it's like, I like Alex Smith, but there's a certain point, it's like, if the guy's not succeeding, how long do you keep on giving him excuses, or the team sucks around him, or he needs other additional opponents and stuff? And Alex had almost every opportunity he could get, but when you get picked by your franchise because you open up the car door for your mom, and the other quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, didn't do that, there's a lot. You shouldn't be. It's your personality. So once again, the Niners went after somebody who they thought was going to fit their culture because they didn't like how Aaron Rodgers talked or treated his parents or whatnot during the interviews. So they chose Alex Smith. Was that the right pick? In hindsight, it wasn't, especially after he gets hurt his first season, and we have 7 seasons the way we did, and then finally when we start to build it up around him and give him players and build the defense, we go and get a head coach, and he does. Alex Smith took us to the championship game, and he almost got us to the Super Bowl if it wasn't for, I'm not going to say his name, but the muff punt, but we know what that is about. But you don't just draft a player because he's nice to his mom. You draft him because of everything, all the intangibles.
The 2005 draft was interesting because San Francisco, of course, went with Alex Smith, first overall quarterback. I forgot who had second pick and who went, but Cleveland was third overall that year. Okay, and they replayed. What do they do? Yeah, NFL Films does these things where they go back and they interview current players and ask them their insight on what happened to them when this happened. And they were interviewing Aaron Rodgers on a one of those NFL shows, and Rodgers was saying that he said, when Cleveland was on the clock at number 3, Aaron Rodgers said to himself, I said, hey, Cleveland needed a quarterback. And Rodgers said he was prepared and ready for Cleveland to select him so that, he could get selected in the top 5, get third overall, and get that up. That was back when they had those signing bonuses. They had those outrageous signing bonuses. It was like something like your first overall pick got $30 million, your second overall pick got 25, and your third overall pick got like $20 million signing bonuses as of your rookie contract before the new CBA went. And Cleveland took wide receiver Braylon Edwards and just let Aaron Rodgers slide down I think he slid down to 20. I want to say 24 or 20. I think 24 to Green Bay.
Yeah, it was 24 or 27, but it was almost the last pick, almost.
Yeah, and Cleveland could have had a franchise quarterback right there with Aaron Rodgers, and we had Trent Dilfer. And Cleveland selected Charlie Fry in the third round quarterback with Trent Dilfer. And we had Derek Anderson we picked up on waivers off of Baltimore. But anyways, to get back on that draft, yeah, Aaron Rodgers was sitting right there at 3, and Cleveland missed an opportunity there as well as San Francisco did. So yeah.
But to Alex's defense, because I don't want to sound like I'm a basher, and you should always, be respectful to your mom. I want to throw that out there too. But for Alex, he came into a situation. If he wouldn't have gotten hurt, he might have played way different. But if Aaron would have came onto our team and he would have gotten hurt, because Aaron got to sit for 4 years, would he have been the superstar that he is today if he didn't sit for 4 years?
I don't know, but back then, when Rodgers didn't play his first 3 seasons and he started in his 4th season, waiting for Favre to decide if he's going to retire or what he was going to do.
Yeah.
Back then, that's how a lot of teams used to do it when they would draft a quarterback. Even if they drafted him first overall, a lot of teams would draft a rookie quarterback, and they would have a veteran bridge gap quarterback starting, in place of him, and they would generally try to. I know the term red shirt doesn't apply in the pros; it applies in college, but just as a figure of speech on NFL terms, quote unquote, red shirt the rookie, meaning just don't play him his rookie year. Okay, you just set him. He holds a clipboard. He's a game planner, and then you start him in his second year, so you don't ruin him. That was how they used to do things. So to me, that advantaged Aaron Rodgers. And then of course, Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick, so Tom Brady didn't start his rookie season over what's his name, Drew Bledsoe in New England at the time. And then Brady got his opportunity in his second season because Bledsoe went out with a collapsed lung in week 3, I believe, of the 2001 season. And then Brady comes in and amazingly leads them to the Super Bowl, which I will argue to this very day, now that I'm taking us there, the 2001 AFC divisional playoff game. Hear me, Corey Davis. Hear me. Oakland Raiders at New England Patriots. That was a fumble. Oakland recovered. The game's over. New England never goes to the Super Bowl. And then they call timeout, or no, the official goes on to this official review, and they come up with this bullshit tuck rule where it was an incomplete pass and not a fumble. And you know damn well it's a made-up rule to fix and rig 9/11, September 9th of 2001, where the Twin Towers went down from terrorists. So you got the New England Patriots in 2001, America's team going to win the Super Bowl. Nah, that was a fumble. The Oakland Raiders is another team that always got screwed over by the league.
And
Not just Cleveland that gets the short end.
No,
Oakland
but they
Raiders.
got screwed. They got screwed because of their ownership, and maybe that's also because, like with Cleveland's situation too. Because Paul Brown
Al
did leave
Davis.
Cleveland, and he went to Cincinnati.
Before Al Davis died, Al Davis stood up to the league.
Yes,
and he spoke his mind, and he had outlaws and badasses. He didn't give a shit if these guys got in trouble off the field. Just show up on time and play your ass off.
Yeah,
that's all he expected.
But you're right. You're right there with the whole fumble and everything. And see, a lot of Oakland had a really good team for a couple seasons there. They had Rich Gannon as their quarterback. They got our running back Charlie Garner. They got Jerry Rice from us. They had Tim Brown. They had Charles Woodson. They were a really good football team there for a couple seasons. And then after that, I think it was the next following season, the Raiders made it to the playoffs. And I want to say it was the Ravens, or maybe it was the year before. It was a year before. The Ravens made it to the playoffs against them, and Tony Saragusa punched Rich Gannon in the ribs on the side after he had sacked him and broke his ribs, and Bobby Hoyen had to come in, and that was the end of the playoffs for the Raiders.
So
that didn't get called though. You can punch a player right in his ribs and no foul. It's okay.
Yeah. So, hey Corey, I gotta leave a little bit early, but I wanted to say this very quickly. Didn't mean to interrupt you guys, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this Harbaugh, the management. So
I brought up the Harbaugh.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring this name up. I think I've brought it up a few times already.
Give us closure on Jim Harbaugh. Give us final closure.
So there's this guy called Ryan Sakamoto. He was the one of the beat writers during the Harbaugh, and he was a really good friend of Harbaugh personally. And he told him that he was going to go to Michigan way before the 2014 season. So what happened was that they were trying to trade him to Cleveland for a second-round pick. I don't know what happened, why Cleveland, or I don't know if Balky botched the trade, but yeah. And it was a big story. And once that happened, Harbaugh lost a little bit of trust with the ownership, and there was a little story that's not talked about in the media, but Harbaugh was having a post-game conference once a game the Niners lost. Jed York and his stupid father walked in there thinking we own the team, yada, yada, yada. And Harbaugh said some choice words, and the owner, Jed York, and his dad, but Jed left in a very depressed mood, and he learned that all right, he crossed the line, got me upset, showed me a moment of weakness, and the players looked at the owner. This is our owner. This is our owner. And this is a true story, but it was never made public in the news. But Harbaugh told him this off the record. So since then, the Harbaugh and the Bauke and the ownership went in a bad ship after that little incident. Now, again, nobody knows the full story, but it's been documented that some of the players were like, what's going on with the owner? Why is the owner, a lot of players were like, so they lost a little bit of respect for the ownership, and some of the players have account on that. So that's what happened, yada, yada. And I'm done with that. So, and then when it comes to Baker Mayfield, I felt that, and you're a Cleveland Browns guy, but don't get mad at me, but I scout quarterbacks, every year for the last 15 years when it comes to scouting the quarterbacks. I'm a big quarterback guru. I was the only person that said Russell Wilson was going to be a really successful quarterback. All the scouts got it wrong, but my track record speaks for itself.
Who do you scout quarterbacks for?
I just scout quarterbacks, and it's a little passion of mine. I just love doing it. I don't do it for no big, news organization, nobody. But I scout quarterbacks just because I love to do it. But personally, in my opinion, I think Baker Mayfield should have not been drafted to Cleveland. And the best quarterback in that draft class. And again, I do not like USC. I hate USC. I'm a Cal Berkeley fan because I live in the Bay Area. So I hate USC. But I had to say Sam Darnold was the best quarterback prospect coming out of that draft. And the general manager, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, said he was looking for a quarterback that embodies the city, and that's why he drafted Baker Mayfield. So I wanted just to say that quickly.
Our general manager at that time for that 2018 draft was John Dorsey, and John Dorsey is a football guy, meaning he doesn't acquire through analytics. And now that I mentioned the term analytics, okay, I'm an old school guy. I was watching football, through the 70s and 80s, and I'm an old school guy where, you can shove your analytics up your ass, going by a computer, looking up a computer programming to determine a player to draft. So that's why they acquired John Dorsey. They wanted to stop analytics and just go to a football guy that actually scouts and looks at them. Originally, John Dorsey threw up this big smoke screen and told everybody that Cleveland was going to draft Sam Darnold. They brought Sam Darnold into Cleveland for a good look at, for individual workout, interviews, everything. Of course, they did the same thing with Mayfield, and I was set on, at that time, I was set on Dorsey to draft Sam Darnold because I believed the hype. And back then, Mike Mayock was the all-time mock draft guru that really knew what people were going to draft. And Mike Mayock had Sam Darnold listed as going to the Cleveland Browns. So I thought, it made sense to me at the time they were going to go with Darnold. Turns out that the best quarterback of that draft was Josh Allen. Now, when initially, and I never saw it coming with John Dorsey as our GM. When he selected Baker Mayfield at that time, I was yelling, cussing, screaming. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You just lost your job. I mean, this ain't going to work out with this guy. I mean, because Baker Mayfield was the furthest quarterback from my mind. In all reality, I believe I would have got that draft wrong, even going in 2020 hindsight. At the time, if you back up before the draft, we traded a third-round pick to acquire Tyrod Taylor from the Buffalo Bills. And since Tyrod Taylor was there, I thought the good quarterback match, if you want to take a veteran bridge gap quarterback to mentor a rookie quarterback, to pair the two together, I thought, man, Lamar Jackson would be the quarterback to bridge up with Tyrod Taylor. And I looked at Jackson. I said, you know what? I believe this Lamar Jackson going to slide to us in the second round. I said, I bet you we could get him at number 33 in the second round. And I would have screwed the draft up because I would have gone Saquon Barkley at 1. And then I was going to go Bradley Chubb, the defensive end, at number 4. So you got bookends. You got another edge rusher opposite side of Myles Garrett. So listen to this. We would have had Barkley at 1, Bradley Chubb at 4. And then when Lamar Jackson slid down, we would have had to trade up to like number 32 to get him. But we would have traded from 33 to 32. I think we could have got Lamar Jackson, and we would have had to been ready to devise that scheme of offense, that system of offense that he runs, which to me is a bullshit style of offense. But it made sense at the time with Tyrod Taylor going with Jackson. Had we selected Josh Allen, which there was people wanting to go that way with him, I believe he would have been a real good fit in Cleveland. And we might have had a little bit better success. But Lamar Jackson wouldn't have worked out in Cleveland. Now that I look at his style of play, I mean, I'm not dumping Lamar. His number speaks for himself. But that style of offense, the RPO, read option, it's too gimmicky. Of course, you're going to use Lamar Jackson as a dual threat. I don't like it, and I don't see it, winning a Super Bowl. Even though they say the game changes all the time, you look at all the quarterbacks, even the quarterbacks in today's game, even the quarterbacks from 25, 30 years ago. The one thing that hasn't changed in a Super Bowl matchup is the quarterbacks that have won most quarterbacks. Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson are two exceptions. The quarterbacks that sucked, that had defenses and good running games carrying them to the Super Bowl, okay? But overall, most of your quarterbacks that won Super Bowl, they made all the throws.
All right, Corey, thanks for having me on. You guys have a good night.
You too.
All right,
Thank
later
you.
on, Jay.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you,
you.
Jay.
Have a good night. The quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls, they made all the throws, and they came through in the clutch. And they could read a defense, and they could carry a team on their back, and they could run a 4-minute offense when the game was on the line. The worst thing I saw was that Kansas City San Francisco Super Bowl with 4 minutes left, and I watched Garoppolo just fucking crumble. That was the worst thing I saw. Jimmy G just crumbled.
Let me ask you about that Super Bowl. Did you see the holding calls that wasn't getting called against Bosa? Did you see those, or am I just a Niner fan and just seen them myself? And I'm not trying to be rude, but like, did you see the defense not getting the holding calls that they needed on the field, or do you think at any chance that the Chiefs were getting preferable treatment from the refs?
Well, that's always. I won't deny that. And I'm not knocking Jimmy Garoppolo either. I'm just saying that Garoppolo is not clutch. He's not going to lead a team with 4 minutes left in a Super Bowl or a championship game. He's just under pressure. He crumbles under pressure. I mean, that's known fact. That's what I've seen in Jimmy. Not that I wouldn't have him as a start. Not that I'm not disrespecting your Jimmy G. Not that I would not have him as a starter or backup. He's got good stats. He's efficient. He keeps his mouth shut. He does his job. He doesn't bring drama and cause friction in the locker room like Mayfield did at Cleveland. Well, I was throwing something bad about Mayfield. Mayfield got way too personal, too mouthy for me. So, I mean, overall, Jimmy G's a quality quarterback. It's just that when I saw Jimmy in the championship games, the Super Bowl game, if I had to pick a negative against Garoppolo, he crumbles under pressure. I don't know how much I have to tell you, but that's what I've seen.
One thing that I gotta say about Jimmy Garoppolo is he doesn't seem to the first couple games that we had, he was playing like backyard football. He seemed to play and do what he wanted to do. And then after he got hurt against the Chiefs, where he tore his ACL, he really was like limit. He was put on a chain or something. They told him, "You're going to do exactly what we want you to do, and you're not going to do what you think's best. You're going to do what I tell you is best." And I find him hesitating instead of taking that shot or making a different decision. He's just doing what Kyle wants him to do. And I think that's a big limitation for him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do what Kyle
Corey,
says.
you got any input? I mean, you're just listening to us, man. You want to talk?
Yeah, I agree with Brian too. Because I think the in that Super Bowl, because if you look at the Tampa Bay when Tampa played Kansas City, every time Kansas City try to go up, to score, do something, they got flagged for holding or pass interference. And when we were going against Kansas City, we couldn't get them calls. Referees would not throw a flag on the holding call. They didn't call offsides.
And the other San Francisco 49ers fan here saying about, holding calls on Bosa that weren't being called. And yes, I don't like to go here with it, but yes, there's teams in certain games that get help from a third team, the team in black and white. I mean, it's been shown, and yes, you're not wrong by saying that. You're not homering it. I mean, yes. I mean, unfortunately, when a league needs a specific team to win a specific game, they're going to do what they got to do to get that script team to win. And if the opposing team is not playing their part in the script and going along with it and saying, no, we're going to try to beat you, well, that's when a third team, when the black and white steps in. And I wish the league, now that we're on the subject, would not predetermine winners, rig, fix, help, favorable calls, non-calls, and let the better of the two teams play and settle on the damn field. And it's not done. And yes, San Francisco was probably the better team for that Super Bowl.
Well, you had the Kittle pass in the beginning of the game, right before, well, not the beginning, but it was like second quarter. We're going into half. He caught that big pass, and it was supposed to be a push off. Other players don't get that call, and then that could have set us up for a field goal or a quick strike at the end zone. I know people don't like Jimmy, but he was playing really good at that point. And then we go into the third quarter or the fourth quarter, and we stop running the ball. And they were always stacking the box, but we stopped giving the ball to Debo, and we started having Jimmy throw more, and we were going 3 and outs. And then the next thing you know, he gets the ball tipped, and it's there's one thing after another. But the whole defense, nobody was.
I'll settle right here before I got to go make a trip to the refrigerator again. There's no way on God's green earth that the New England Patriots are going to overcome a 28-3 deficit against the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. No way on God's green earth. But I agree with you. I'll be back.
Well, that's a good point too, because like Kyle was there, he was beating them 28-3, and then all of a sudden they change up their way they were playing the game too. The running game stopped, and then Matt Ryan starts throwing the ball, and then New England just starts coming back. So definitely, the rigged NFL is definitely out there. People have it's been proven.
Well, all right. So someone brought up the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. So that drive you're talking about at the end of the game, that is when Kyle realized Jimmy G is not my guy. And then the next draft came up, and they decided to not trade up and get someone because there wasn't someone they liked.
Well, there was all that speculation.
Here comes the 21 draft, and here come Trey Lance. They were also looking at Zach Wilson, which I'm thanking God they didn't get that kid. I live in Utah. I watched him play at BYU. And I also watched him miss the season due to injury, and he also missed the season due to injury in high school. So it would, uh, basically, I honestly don't think he's going to be anything great. I think he's going to be good, but I don't think he's going to be anything great.
David,
Trevor
real quick.
Lawrence right now, I mean, that they put a lot of pieces around him. He hasn't done much. But Trey Lance, this game, he did not have his best performance, but at the same time, he was, it was a very sloppy field. We should have been running the ball more, but Mitchell got hurt. I mean, he's young. As long as I see him watching tape and learning from his mistakes, I am good. That's something Jimmy G never did. He made the same mistakes over and over again and never learned his lesson.
I want to
So
jump in.
Trey has all the intangibles. He can extend the play. He can throw deep. He can zip a ball into a tight place if he really wants to. I'm honestly looking forward to next week to see what kind of steps he takes versus this week.
Yep.
I wanted to jump in real quick because, like, what you're saying is after we lost the Super Bowl, they weren't trying to draft anybody, but there was all that speculation that they were trying to either get Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, and Tom Brady was making that speculation that he wanted to come to us, but for whatever reason, the organization, the Niners, didn't pull the trigger, and I think that goes back to Kyle Shanahan. His mentality. He wants to be the face of the franchise. He wants to tell the quarterback what to do, and not the quarterback tell him, "I got 6 Super Bowl rings. You're going to listen to me."
That is true. I mean, we could be running into a big ego issue.
Yeah, because right now Kyle wants the star power. He wants to be the guy on the sidelines. So because they could have got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo right after they lost the Super Bowl, but the organizations decided no, Jimmy's our guy, and we know Jimmy wasn't the guy. We could see the friction already. The friction's been there since 2018, since his ACL injury. After that, Kyle fell out of love. The divorce was on. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how he runs them against Seattle, because if he doesn't pick a good plan for Seattle and we lose against Seattle, we're potentially going to go 0-2 in the first 2 games, and we have the potential of going 0-4 for in the fourth quarter.
Oh, dang, Brian, dang. Dude, I don't think I could handle another loss to the Seahawks. Nah.
And then it's going to be really bad if it happens like that, David, because we'll be beaten twice by the Seahawks. If week 3 we have to go play Russell Wilson, and I'll be like almost getting beat again by the Seahawks.
So you guys probably, hey Corey, you guys probably already discussed this because I didn't make it here for the beginning of this. You guys take me back. What happened today with Trey Lance at Chicago? I mean, did he look bad? Did he look skittish? Do you think he might not be ready to start? I mean, give me the rundown on Trey. I didn't watch him play, so I'm not going to disrespect him, but he didn't get a win. So what happened with Trey Lance? I mean, evaluate today's game. I mean, what did you see out there today?
Well, when it comes to what I saw, he was trying, but at the same time, I saw a couple inaccurate throws, and the ball was wet. We don't know how much that actually affected anything because I wasn't there throwing it. I honestly can't put this loss directly on him. I'll say that right now. I mean, the team itself had 12 penalties for 99 yards. Yeah. I honestly look at the coaching staff and say, you guys got some work to do. You got to clean that up. But I mean, I don't think any of his receivers were doing him any favors, because I mean that he did overthrow a couple guys and underthrew a couple guys. Was throwing the ball low to Jennings. Was pretty much putting Jennings on the ground. So, but what I saw today was him taking a step back from the Houston game last year. That's literally what I saw today. I mean, I'm more worried about what I see next week versus what does he do to correct this situation next week than what I saw today. That's what
Okay.
I'm more worried about.
Okay, Corey, all of you guys. Corey, is Trey Lance ready to start? Yes or no?
Right now, I say yes. He's ready to start. It just I got, like he was saying, I can't put the blame all on Trey Lance. You know, Trey Lance, he did one thing that our last year Jimmy G don't do. He took the blame for the loss. Jimmy G was said we need to do better. Trey Lance came out on the podium and he said, I need to do better. I overthrew some people. I did this. He didn't say we or blame another players, and he took it all on his shoulder. But I can't put it all on Trey. I gotta put it on a lot of our players that cause these penalties. You know, we gotta remember every time we always do it when it's time for us to get off the field. We did a good play on third down. About to get off the field. Nope, flag. Here we go. Flag. Somebody hit somebody. Somebody held somebody. And in two, they seem like the referees was picking on the Niners a little bit because they hit on even though yes he slid, he went down slid, but as a defender, you can't hardly stop yourself once you go on into motion. And so Greenlaw came down and fell on top of the quarterback.
Did Corey, not to interrupt you, I want you to keep talking. Did Justin Fields of Chicago outplay Trey Lance? Yes or no?
Well, hell no.
No.
All right.
No, they if you look at it, they're both evenly. It's just like the if our defense one to Pettis, Dante Pettis, he got wide open.
Can they get Trey Lance to hook up with Samuel, the good receiver? Can they get chemistry going there?
Yeah.
Samuel's the guy you guys signed, number 19, right?
Yeah, Debo.
Yeah, Debo. Samuel. Can they get and basically was it like mediocre quarterback play from both Lance and Fields? Were they both flat? I mean, what was it with these two?
So I got some numbers for you.
Numbers
Fields
don't lie.
was 8 for 17, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick.
Who was
Lance
that?
was 13 for 28, 161 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick. So, I mean, that they were pretty close when it comes down to it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say at the beginning of the game, Trey Lance looked like he was more comfortable. He had more confidence, but the things were going good for him. As far as the Debo connection, I don't think they have the chemistry just yet. I think they're working on it. The thing that threw me off with Lance, I know the other guys have heard me say it. Lance can throw the ball really far. He can throw it deep, but when it comes to like the 5 or 6 yard routes, the stuff in the middle, the easy shots that Jimmy can hit, Trey Lance is just throwing a little too high. Now you can say that might be water, the grip of the ball, but he was doing that in practice too. He's really good with the deep shots, but when it comes to intermediate stuff, where Debo really is featured at, because Debo does really good at I don't know, he's a great catcher. He can catch balls, but he has drops too. But if you can give him the ball and do a little check down to him or hand it off to him, he seems to flourish at that. So it's like, again, I think Trey Lance is ready to start, but I think the chemistry with him, with some of the other team members and them being comfortable with him, because there was times where the guys were wide open, but he just threw it a little too short or just a little too high where they couldn't reach it. I know he throws a little harder, and the guys have to learn how to catch that too. But as far as Trey looked good, but when the second half started coming, and Debo had fumbled, and the interception happened, I think he dialed it back a little bit. And then at the end of the game for the Niners, they had the ball at like 6 minutes left of the game, and there was no like. It didn't seem like they were hurrying up to the ball. It didn't seem like they could have done it maybe a different way. It didn't seem like they really believed that they were going to go down and score or win. They had the ability to do it, but they didn't. As far as not Trevor Lawrence, but Fields, there was a moment on the field when he had the ball, and it was like third quarter, and I seen him smile. He turned his head and he was looking at the field, the players, the defense, and he smiled. And at that point, I was like, we're not winning this game. This guy's got confidence. You're going to go down, they're going to score, and they're going to we're not going to be able to overtake it. And it was the weather. I really truly believe it was the weather because at a certain point, the Niners they were cold, and like I think somebody said it, Jennings kept getting the ball thrown to him low, and the Niners, many players don't want to go down and catch the ball when it's raining. They don't want to get in the snow. Some players love it, but most of the time that just makes you cold, and it takes a long time for you to warm back up from it. And early in the game, he was throwing the ball low to people like Jennings and Debo, so he's got a little bit of work to do. He definitely does.
Okay, now question for you, Corey Davis, and for anybody that wants to intercede after I ask him. These you mentioned Trey Lance can throw the deep ball, and you need that. I mean, if your franchise quarterback can throw the deep ball with accuracy and go over the top, then that's a threat that opposing defenses have to respect. When I think of somebody that can throw the deep ball, I think of Peyton Manning when he used to hook up with Harrison. James Harrison and go over the top of people, and Harrison would beat people on a streak on a double move, and safeties were just playing 15 to 20 yards off the ball against Peyton Manning. Respect that. So you got that in Trey Lance, all right? He can throw the deep ball. Now, Corey, my question to you and the rest of the guys in here: these intermediate throws and these shorter dink and dunk passes, will Trey Lance learn how to take a little bit off of it to increase his accuracy on shorter and intermediate and mid-range throws?
Yes, he can. He can do it. He can learn. It's something that he's got to learn. He's got to, when it comes game time, get the what do they call it? The jitters out of you. You gotta get
Butterflies
out of you. You gotta learn it to set up
no, sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
To the receivers. You gotta learn that. And then also it didn't hurt that today we lost our running back.
Who was a running back? What's the running back's name?
Mitchell. What's his name?
Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell, yeah. He got hurt.
The game changed after he got hurt.
Yep.
Next man up. Who's his backup? How'd he do?
Wilson Jr. was the next guy.
He did okay. He just didn't do. He wasn't breaking. Like Mitchell, he was getting like 10 yards, 8 yards run.
I honestly wanted to see Jordan Mason or TDP in there because I mean, Wilson's okay, but I mean, I honestly look at Wilson like he's a better third down back than he is what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
You know what? I wish I didn't go back to running by committee. He didn't have this one cowbell. Back when we had Mustard and number 22.
Mustard, Breeden, and Jeff Wilson Jr. Yeah.
Yeah. They ran by committee. He'll bring him in. Boom. Bring Breeder. Let Breeder do something. He'll bring Mustard in. He'll bring in number 26.
Tillman. Was it Tillman?
Yeah. Bring him in. Boom. We had this whole running committee thing. It was no one running back. I like the running back by committee. And Cal should go back to that.
Yeah, I definitely think Kittle's his presence was missed on the field today.
Yeah.
We have 2 other tight ends or 3 other tight ends, but 81 every time they tried to throw it to him. He just wasn't getting open. And I was saying it while I was watching the game. I was at a party today, and I was saying, why are they throwing it to him? Do you throw it to Dwelly? Dwelly's the one with the hands. And then later they tried to throw it to Dwelly, and he missed it too. And I was just like, where he made the catch, and I was like, that's why you throw it to Dwelly. But it's Kittle brings so much more energy onto the field, and he potentially is going to be out 3 to 6 weeks. This isn't going to be good for us.
What's Kittle's injury?
A groin injury. It could be torn, they say.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Pulled groin or torn groin?
They're saying it could be torn. They're not giving us a lot of information.
If it's torn, he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
If it's pulled, he can come back from that. But even a pulled groin, you got a few weeks. You got some time being down and get the pulled groin back. Rehabilitated.
Yeah, I just hate. We should. Yeah, see, like that pass that Trey Lance missed. That tight end, he was wide open. Tight end.
Was Kittle a fit? Not to interrupt you, Tori, but was Kittle a 5th round pick or a 3rd round?
Yeah, 5th round.
Yeah.
See, there's the draft, man. You could find diamond in the rough, man. I mean, a 5th round draft pick generally isn't even expected to make the 53-man active roster. A 5th round draft pick is generally, they might make the roster or they might, clear waivers and go to the practice squad and develop. See, you got Kittle, he's like a top 5. He's definitely a top 5 tight end. I rank him number 3 overall in the league out of your top 5. I got Mark Andrews at 1, and I got Kelsey at 2, and I got Kittle at 3. So you're looking at a 5th round draft pick for what you guys drafted him at. You could hit people in the draft. Your draft strategy is so important. You can get talent. Kittle's an example of it right there.
And I don't understand why they didn't use Juice as a running back. I really don't. They tried to throw it to him a couple times, but the ball was too high. Yeah, but Juice does really good as a running back. They should have used him more in blocking. They should have used him more for tight end positions because they've done that in the past and it's worked out for him. So I think they just tried. Once Mitchell got hurt, I think they kind of were just like, "Oh boy, here we go."
Well, so Mitchell's a 6th round pick. He ran in 11 games. He ran for 967 yards last year. When it comes down to our late round picks, we actually do pretty good. Our number 3 wide receivers, the guy was saying that Trey Lance was throwing too low to, he's a 7th round pick. I mean, like our starting right guard is a 4th round pick. I mean, I think he needs a couple games to get going though. But I'm honestly looking at it like, we wasted a 3rd round pick on a running back, and I don't think he even saw the field today.
I don't believe he was active, and I believe Mason was active.
I mean, I think that says a lot. And honestly, Mason's a unrestricted free agent rookie. I mean, what is that called? Undrafted. And honestly, I think they should have put him in.
Undrafted free agent if he didn't get drafted.
That's exactly it. That's what I was looking for. I'm tired, so my brain's not exactly with me right now.
If a player's an undrafted free agent, they're more or less like a walk-on. That's like walking on the team.
But yeah, the way I understand it, TDP was inactive, but Mason was suited. He was ready to go. But I didn't see him, on the field or, standing on the sidelines, but that's what I read. And for him not to even get a chance at the ball, but they believed in Wilson. They thought everything was working. They were keeping it a tight, close game, but it was those misses, those throws, when he was trying to throw it like 5 or 6 yards and we'd go and have to punt the ball. He was running the ball. He got a couple of good scrambles, like 8 or 9 yard scrambles a couple of times. He did that one conversion and we were like 3rd and 13 and he picked up the first down on a run. But I think we just got too close with the score and we thought, we're gonna do something, but the refs they called a really tight game. They called a really tight game.
Then I mean, all those defensive mistakes We had them, third and out. Boom, here comes the flag. It's like, dude, really?
Mhm.
I mean, what shined on our defense. And you remember how we were just talking about them fifth rounders?
Mhm.
So last year in the fifth round, we pick a guy named Hufunga, a safety, and he looked really good. He looked way better than Jacquees Tart, his replacement, the guy he replaced. He looked way better than him. That guy was all over the field. He was all over everything. I was actually very impressed with him.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, there was
I
this
was
moment
like,
in the game. He rushed the quarterback, and I don't think he got to him, but he made his presence known, and that's what kind of stuff we need.
Hey, Corey, does John Lynch do all your drafting, or is it like a group decision? Or is he the main draft guru?
no, we got another person that's behind him.
So from what I understand, Lynch and Shanahan do the first 3 rounds, and then it's Adam Peters in the scouting department from round 4 on.
Yeah, and the every other year they switch Lynch and Kyle who gets to pick first.
See, because if you want to go back to traditional football, when the game was real fun to watch, and I'm not just saying this because you guys are 49ers, I'm saying this from what I call it and see it, seeing it for what it is. If I think of a all-pro Hall of Fame quarterback that is the GOAT, because that's the term they like to use, it's not Tom Brady. It's Joe Montana winning 4 of 4 Super Bowls within a 10-year period from the stretch of the 1981 season to the 1989 season. And Montana didn't have a headset. Sometimes he called his own plays. He audibled, and he didn't have any rules to protect him from getting hit. He took vicious hits. He was knocked out of an championship game by Tom Burt of the New York Giants from a concussion that nobody will ever forget. So that's the GOAT right there is Montana coming through in the clutch, and then he didn't lose in a Super Bowl. And then his 2 comeback Super Bowl wins, both against Cincinnati on the final drives. I mean, you can't get more clutch than that. Tom Brady, he's not the GOAT, not at all.
Hey, let me
Now
jump
you
in
think
and ask you a question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but what's the difference between not Tom Brady, but Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw? I know both of them have 4 Super Bowls, and I have my own opinion. I believe Joe's the GOAT too, but is it because of Bill Walsh being a nicer coach to Joe and giving him more credit, or is it, because I know Terry Bradshaw and his coach didn't get along for a long time.
Well, to begin with, I will credit Bill Walsh, and you can Google this to see the accuracy of this information about to share with you. Bill Walsh was the assistant head coach to Paul Brown back when Paul Brown was the head coach owner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Right. Bill Walsh's playbook that was termed the West Coast offense, that is Paul Brown's playbook that he had for the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. So Joe Walsh was a successor of the Cleveland Browns head coach, former head coach, Paul Brown, and Cincinnati Bengals. And you got to see the significance of Paul Brown. When Art Modell fired him in Cleveland, Paul Brown went down to Cincinnati and started his own franchise.
Right.
And he even got to play against Bill Walsh, his former assistant head coach. So I credit Bill Walsh. I credit a lot of those plays from Paul Brown's offense, if you want to call it the West Coast offense. He was a successor of Paul. Bill Walsh was a successor of Paul Brown. So, and Joe Montana had a rhythm, and they all clicked. That offense was all the rhythm and timing. I mean, if Joe Montana took 4 steps in the hop, Bill Walsh would say, no, you don't take 4 steps in the hop. You take 5 steps in the hop and then throw it. And it was all timing. It was the timing throw. And you can't forget Jerry Rice and some of the wide receivers, Tom Rathman, a key fullback, and and Dwight Clark and all the many others, and John Taylor, and these players that really, these Hall of Fame players that stick out in my mind. So I mean, it all clicked for them. It all came together, and they just had a way to come through. And then the 1989 season, no, I believe it was the 1988 season. They had it to where they counted the 49ers out because they finished, I believe it was the 88 season. We had to look it up to confirm this. They finished, I want to say they finished 10-6, and they squeaked in as a wild card. And then they just went on a playoff run and won the Super Bowl. So you can't, and when you write somebody off like that Montana and Bill Walsh will come in there and take it back. But yeah, Montana's a goat. As far as Terry Bradshaw goes, it was a different game in the 70s. Defenses could just fucking knock the shit out of wide receivers. Defenses, not only could they chuck you in the 5-yard chuck zone, they could literally jam wide receivers at the line of scrimmage where a receiver couldn't even get a release. So wide receivers were limited. So Bradshaw, he had a good running game with Franco Harris and Rocky Bleier both carrying for 1,000 yards apiece. And you had one of the best defenses that ever stepped on a football field, Pittsburgh. The Steel Curtain. That whole defense of Pittsburgh was basically Hall of Famers, most of them.
Because
Jack Lambert,
he doesn't.
Jack Lambert, L.C. Greenwood, Jack Ham, Mel Blount that killed wide receivers, Mike Wagner, or Donnie Shell, Dwight White. I mean, and Holmes. I mean, and Mean Joe Green. I mean, Bradshaw was not a better quarterback than Joe Montana, not at all. Bradshaw quarterbacks weren't in the 70s. They weren't at that level. I mean, you were allowed to play defense in the 70s. You were allowed to fucking hit a guy. You were allowed to tackle a guy. And defense won you Super Bowls. Defense won you championship games in the 70s. So for me to compare Bradshaw to Montana, I can't give a fair comparison. By far, Montana was a better quarterback than Bradshaw. I'm not taking away from that. I don't know if that answers your question. I mean, it does.
It clarifies a little bit. My point really was Terry Bradshaw definitely doesn't get the same respect that Joe Montana does.
Exactly.
They definitely don't say he's as intelligent as he is, and I think Terry Bradshaw is very intelligent. I think he's very funny too, but I think that's part of his intelligence. But
exactly,
the defense definitely.
Bradshaw looked like a dumbass though in some of it. He did. You didn't have to be that smart of a quarterback when he played. He had that defense type of running backs he had. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but no, you're right. Joe's the GOAT. So.
Yeah, I mean, Terry Bradshaw's not even. Other interesting factor, okay, and I think you and Corey can relate to this. If you break it down by stats, I mean, I like to look at stats. Now, if you look at the tape, if you look at the film don't lie. You watch film on players. You watch games. Now, Troy Aikman of the Dallas Cowboys is a Hall of Famer, and I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just asking for clarification. Don't get me wrong. I have no disrespect to Troy Aikman. I have no opinion to form of him. Again, this is a question for clarification. I mean, Aikman's stats, if you want to go by his stats, he only threw for 3,500 to 3,800 yards. But I think where they get down to it is he's had a numerous amount of game-winning drives. And I don't care if he orchestrated it by running with Emmitt Smith behind the Great Wall of Dallas or how he got that done. But, I mean, he earned Hall of Fame status, and they were a dynasty. They won 3 of 4 Super Bowls, which teams don't win 3 of 4. Three within a 4-year period. And it was the same going with what's his name? Broadway Joe. Joe Namath didn't have real great stats, and he's a Hall of Fame. So I mean, there's different things to base it on. But if you look back, go look it up, Google search it, look up Troy Aikman on ProFootballReference.com, and you'll look at his stats and you'll think, how is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, he didn't even throw for a 4,000-yard season. So I guess the game-winning drives and the rings, I guess that goes to the tournament. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just want clarification when we compare apples to apples. That's all. But yeah, Aikman was a good quarterback. Yes, I would have loved to have him on my team.
Yeah, I definitely got to say that too. I think he is a good quarterback, but I think he maybe is more like Jimmy Garoppolo, where he was around a good team and he was able to operate. He had the mechanics to do something good and win a game at certain times, but he didn't necessarily put them over the top. He was just one of the pieces. You take somebody like Marino, who didn't win the Super Bowl, and put him on a team like Dallas, and that would have been his attributes probably wouldn't have been shown there either, because he would have been just handing off the ball and letting Dallas run, like you said, the Great Wall of Dallas. But I think a lot of Super Bowl Hall of Fame players get into the Hall of Fame only because they have a Super Bowl ring, and some of the players that have statistics, like Roger Craig, will probably never be in the Hall of Fame because they had a fumble or something devastating in their career. So
that's true,
and he should be in the Hall of Fame because that man he's the one that started the catch of the backfield out of the backfield.
Yeah, he was the first 1,000-yard receiver and running back. So, but he'll never get in because of that fumble, I believe. I truly believe it.
I mean, if anything, if you want to go back to the Dallas Cowboys, I blame Jerry Jones for opening the door. Well, for opening the door for Jimmy Johnson and letting Jimmy Johnson go. I mean, that is devastating right there. And there's that right there tells you. And basically, you look at the Dallas Cowboys franchise today. To me, Jerry Jones has destroyed that damn place. He's destroyed that franchise as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely brought some Super Bowls to it, but over time, his ways has crippled the team. Just kind of like we were talking about Al Davis, and rest in peace, Al Davis. But one of the jokes my dad has, because my dad's a Raider fan, one of the big jokes is when Al Davis would go to draft, he would look, on the newspaper and see who was running the fastest 40, and that was going to be the next Oakland Raider. So if you always stay in your patterns and stuff like that, you are going to become complacent. And I think that's kind of where the Cowboys have been, because they just want to draft big wide receivers and they want a good running back, and then they try to throw it all together, but they don't put anything together on defense, and then it's 8-8 every year. So
yeah.
So when it comes to Jerry Jones, I'm and those 90 teams, I'm going to be honest with you. He found a way to cheat the salary cap, because back then the signing bonuses didn't necessarily count, so he'd give players big signing bonuses, and that's how he was able to keep all that talent on that team. I remember that. Then
That's a loophole.
They changed it so the signing bonus actually counts towards it. And the Cowboys have never been the same. I mean, he hasn't been able to put together anything.
And you know what else they haven't been the same since they haven't had Charles Haley. Once we let Charles Haley go to them, they won those Super Bowls, and after that, he come back to us, and they haven't went to the Super Bowl since. I
remember I was a kid when they made that trade. I was pissed.
Yeah,
and the reason they did it is he was a nut in the locker room. Yeah.
Hey, wait a second. You 49ers guys, this is funny as hell. In the 1981 season, and I see this stuff where they do the replays, the NFL films, where they go back and they interview players and show old game film and get thoughts on these shows they do. Well, they had Randy Cross on there, the All-Pro center for the 49ers, back with the 1981 49ers, and the 49ers acquired defensive tackle or defensive end Fred Dean. I believe Fred Dean was a defensive tackle. I think in a 4-3 was a defensive tackle. Fred Dean. And they acquired him on. They made the trade, and Randy Cross said, "Hey, he's not going to be able to start for us on Sunday. He's just getting here on Thursday. He don't even know what our game plan is." And what it was with Fred Dean, there was no game plan. There was no plays. I mean, in a defensive huddle, when the linebacker would call a defensive play and for people to line up in their assignments, Fred Dean didn't give a fuck what everybody else was doing, where they were going on assignments. Fred Dean was simply going to beat the man or the two men in front of him and split the blockers and get whoever was in the backfield with the ball. That was all it was. He didn't give a shit what anybody else was doing or where they were lining up or where they were blowing or stunting. He knew that whoever was in front of him, whether it was two guys or three guys and a running back on it, he had to go through them and get the ball carrier or the quarterback. And that was simple. And Fred Dean came in that Sunday and started and had sacks and made the difference there. And I guess Fred Dean was laying down on a bench. He said he was smoking a cigarette. Randy Cross said he come up to him and said, "What are you doing, Fred?" And Fred was just going, "Well, I was thinking about lifting some weights, but I think I'll just lay down here until that thought goes away," and kept smoking a cigarette. Then at halftime, Fred Dean would be puffing on a cigarette at halftime. And players would look at him like, "Wow, is anybody going to say anything to this guy?" And they're like, "No, he's getting his sacks. He's playing for us. Why are we going to say anything to him?" You remember that? Well, I don't, well, yeah, Corey's close to my age. You might remember that when they acquired Fred Dean. You remember that, Corey?
Yeah.
They called him Dean Fins.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. I got to work early. So
Yeah.
I'll see you fellas next time. Thanks for having me, Corey. I appreciate it. It was nice meeting you, Dave. My name's actually Dave, too.
All right, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right, Bryant. See you next time. And again, thanks, Corey, for having me, buddy. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you on Wednesday. We're going to do I'll pick them again on Wednesday.
All right, buddy. I'll be here.
Have a good night, Corey.
I have the sheet in the All right, Dave.
Later.
All right, good night.
Both days.
Corey,
I
thanks
have
for
the sheet
having
in my on my page.
All right. Real good. We'll see you.
See you later, Ryan Cup.
You too. Thank you for having me on. Nice meeting you, Dave.
Ryan Cup.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have the these sheets.
Yeah, the pick'em sheets.
Yeah, I have it on my page when I get them again. We're gonna do it Wednesday.
All right, sounds good.
I'm gonna try to do it.
I'll try to call in every time I get a chance. You want to just keep my record, and keep me, I'll be here as much as I can.
Okay.
All right, Corey. You have a great night.
Right.
And once again, nice meeting you, Dave.
He'll be gone. All right. Thank you all. Thank you everybody that came in. Thank you for the comments and people in the comments. That came in. Enjoy your weekend. Go 49ers. And what's that about? About to end this. Go 49ers. See ya.